All right. What is going on with all you great decoders on this amazing Saturn day? We're going to go right into Sunday, the nemesis of Saturn, if you will. One says yes, the other says no. Saturn day. It's kind of interesting because Saturn representing Satan. And, Elton John had that great song, Saturday Night. It was all about partying. It's like everybody that goes out on Saturday typically likes to party it up and get into trouble, do a lot of sinning. It's just really interesting. But welcome out all you great decoders around the world, wherever you are. I really appreciate each and every one of you joining in here tonight, or maybe it'll be during the daytime for you. Coming on here, supporting this channel. I really, I'm a fan of you as a decoder. A lot of you have inspired me to continue to do videos and pump these videos out. A lot of you great decoders share a lot of pieces to the layers that fit inside of the decode. So, a big shout out to all of you, a big, round of applause to all of you great decoders, because it's, partially the reason why I do my decodes, and a lot of the things that you see on the screen in my presentations are, part of what you're doing. So keep those things coming. I'm wearing the sunglasses, not to look cool, be Joe Cool, to remind you that we're in a simulation and to not take life so seriously. And you may hear me say this throughout this, what's your question, number 37, turn off the static. This is what this reminds you of, to turn off the static on the world stage and put that energy into your life and do something constructive with it. All right, so we're just going to take these off. I want to get my eyes adjusted to the light here, and let's get into some of your comments. I got some good content for all of you here today. Let me just pop this chat out. There we go. Okay. And welcome out, everybody. Welcome out. I just was on, I was just over there with Santos. I'm still in the hot seat, Daniel's hot seat until he comes back. So I'm loving it, man. I got to sit with a great astrologer, William, and his book, Dancing with the Zodiac. I hope you check that one out. He was a fun guy to interview. Santos has been friends with him for a long time. And it was great. And they have a great lineup coming next week. Be sure to tune in to Syncretism Society's podcast live, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. That'll be 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. or 4 p.m. Pacific, where we're bringing, once again, Jason Brashears from Archaics onto the Syncretism Society. Be sure to support, subscribe, become a member of the society. They go out a lot of great instructors. Your donations, your Patreons towards the Syncretism Society help that movement to continue to go and propel forward, to help people out. It's not just about they're taking my money. No, the money is useful to keep these archetypes, and that's exactly what these platforms are. As a content creator, we're archetypes, so help those guys out and gals over at the Syncretism Society. Big shout out to them. Big shout out to, I saw Jordan. Big shout out to my man Jordan over at Waters Above Crypto. I caught a little bit of his live yesterday. He does his lives at 5 o'clock on Fridays. This is typical time frame Eastern. And he's got a lot of people jumping in and listening to his very soothing, wonderful voice. He's got a lot of gem drops to give all of you. So go support him. And then if you're a fan of crypto, which I hope you are, because I feel like that's where we're moving in this reality eventually. Crypto market is really right now, it's tanked. This is perhaps, and I'm not giving you any financial advice, but perhaps this is the time to get in the game if you're not in the game already. And Jordan's the guy to show you how to do that. He's got a master course. Be sure to get over to his Patreon and sign up for his course if you feel the urge. If you're itching, go scratch the itch. Don't hesitate. Listen to the voice in your head if it's telling you to do that. And again, a big shout out to all you great decoders in the world today. Just keep your content coming. I hope all of you were able to check out my latest decode called Lead to Gold. I just dropped that just the other day. And then I've dropped 3 in a row besides the great podcast I did with Jordan on Thursday. We just dropped, let's talk about energy. And that one's got a lot of great nuggets in it. We talked a lot about energy, how it works, and from my perspective, from his perspective. And we're going to be doing, it sounds like we're going to be doing a monthly podcast by popular demand. A lot of people love the collaboration that we do. So we're going to be bringing that out once a month, I think, is what we're going to probably agree towards. Not cemented in stone, but that's our tentative plan to do these podcasts on a monthly basis. And I wanted to, just quickly, I want to take all of you, because I have an alternate channel, and it's called Cosmic Sugar, okay? And it hasn't been really well established yet. So it may be a little bit difficult to find, but the reason why I'm going to show all of you this, let me just do a display here. The reason why I'm going to show you this is to show you, what it looks like when you find it, okay? But if you just type in, let's talk about holy hydrogen right here. If you just go type this in, you're probably going to pull it up. But I'm coming out, this is my channel that is going to be promoting health and wellness, and some spirituality, some mystical stuff, readers and tarot and stuff like that beyond Decode Your Reality. And this is really another channel, another extension. I am certified in nutrition. It is a big part of my life. So be sure to go over and subscribe to this. I got this again. It's brand new, but what I'm going to be bringing out with this channel is I'm going to do a podcast on a bi-weekly basis. Let's talk about health. Okay, it's just strictly going to be talking about health and wellness and spirituality and everything that fits into the tagline that I've included with Cosmic Sugar, which is become a better you. And I just dropped the last podcast with Elise Brasine, and she's a healing specialist through trauma. And I did a podcast with her, just released that. And, these don't have a lot of views because I don't have a lot of subscribers. But again, if you want to support these artists, these content creators, and I'm going to have more interviews, more podcasts, please get over and subscribe to my Cosmic Sugar. There's my logo right there. And subscribe to that so we can keep this content coming. And, speaking of health, let me just pull this back over here. Speaking of health, I just wanted to share with all of you. A lot of people ask me, hey, what kind of foods do you eat? And what's your daily regimen? And, so I wanted to just share with you, I'm a guy who I'll find a recipe and I'll just eat it every day, all day. For until I get sick of it. That's just how I roll, right? And I'm really into salads right now, right? Mainly because they work really well with my digestion, and I'm just I get tired of cooking for 20 minutes. I love chefing it up, don't get me wrong, but right now I'm in the healing space for myself personally, and I'm into a lot of raw stuff. Salads are perfect for that. So I'm literally having a head of lettuce with a cucumber, a green pepper, some raw garlic in there, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, really good olive oil. I don't skimp on buying really high pure olive oil. And then squeezing a 1/4 of a lemon in there, salt and pepper. And then I'm adding this product right here. Maybe you use it, but it's awesome. I put this on popcorn. But if you haven't tried this, get it. It's like a cheesy flavor. But I add this. I dump the hell out of it on the salad. So that's olive oil, 1 tablespoon. You can put more if you want. About 1/4 or 1/3 of a lemon squeezed, salt and pepper, and then some of this nutritional yeast with salad, cucumber, pepper, and whatever else you want to put on there, right? But it's amazing, the salad. It's so light and airy, and oh man, I have another one. My mouth's just salivating thinking about it. That's how good it is for me. And this gives it I know you wouldn't think cheese and lemon would go, but it's not like a straight up cheese flavor, but that's this nutritional yeast right here. Amazing product. I was supposed to mention this last podcast, but I failed to do that. So I had it sitting on the desk and I just forgot to mention it. So Anyway, wanted to let all of you know that. Secondly, I also want to let each and every one of you know that I have a detox that I will be leading up starting next month. And I am going to be personally leading it up and partaking in it. Okay? It is a very aggressive detox. Many people that enter this detox don't complete it. It is a length of 22 days. It's like 21 days, 22 days is like the day of celebration. You do whatever you want on day 22. But originally it was with my brand 22days.com. And the 22 days I feel like is when really you establish something new in your life. And it's a reboot, a regeneration. So let me just share all of this with you and show you exactly what it's going to look like. So this is what I've named it right here. It's called the Green Box Detox. And if you're interested in partaking in this, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be letting everybody know through this channel and my Cosmic Sugar and my Facebook and my Telegram group and as many platforms as I can on how to get involved with this. But it will start with an email. The email is located at the bottom, and I made it really simple so you couldn't forget it. And it's a rhymer. Green Box Detox. That's what I've called this, the Green Box Detox at gmail.com. So if you're interested in this program, if you're interested in it, like you're curious, some of you will maybe just be curious and you may not want to get involved, but I'm going to let you know the details of that. Let me just jump back on here and tell you all the details of this detox, okay? So I put this detox together years ago, and it is involving a 22-day span. It's primarily liquid juice that you would press with a juicer, so you will need a juicer or access to a juicery. And then you will need a blender or a NutriBullet. I will be using a NutriBullet. And you will literally be drinking your food. There are some soups in there that you can make. They're optional. I will be making a soup. I use a pressure cooker. I got the Instant Pot. And I have everything in a PDF. So if you're interested in joining this, the first step is to email me, greenboxdetox@gmail. Say, hey, I'm interested. And then I'm going to let everybody know when the day is that we're going to start. It's going to be 22 days. So you're going to have to, if you're willing to go all the way through and be authentic with this, I'm telling you, this is life-changing. Some of you that have like skin issues, digestion issues, a lot of these issues may be eliminated by the end of the completion of this detox. But what I'm going to be, this is all free, by the way. The only thing you have to invest is your time. This is my gift to society. I'm going to just give it away to everybody that's interested. I have a lot of people that are interested already, but what it's going to include is you're going to get a PDF, and it has all the recipes already built into the pages. It has hyperlinks in there, suggested supplements that you can buy. And it has hyperlinks to go to my old coaching YouTube channel, which has real videos of showing how to juice. So you're going to see me a little bit bigger when I was in my bodybuilding days. But anyway, I'm not going to remake the videos for this. I'm just going to roll with this right now. But if you're interested in completely changing your life from a physical standpoint, this is going to be it for you. I'm really excited. I really want to change some people's lives. So when you get enrolled in this course, the only thing that will be necessary is you must sign a waiver, because I can't, I've had people, just to let you know, because I'm going to be really raw and authentic. When you detox, some of you are so toxic. When you start to detox, you're going to get sick. You're going to feel like shit. That's a good sign to keep going. But I'm just letting you know, the reason why I have people sign disclaimers, because I'm not going to be liable for anything that happens to you. I'm not saying that this is going to, obviously there's like the extension of death here, but no. But I had a friend who wanted to go through this detox, ended up in the hospital because he was so toxified. And the toxins dumped into his body, and just his body couldn't handle it. So you got to gauge, and now this is how serious this is. You got to gauge, and I'm just keeping it raw and real and authentic with all of you. You got to gauge, your breaking point. Some of you, if you're really toxic, you may just want to go 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. But if you go the full 22 with me, I promise you, you will feel completely different person. And the average weight reduction for people that have done this detox in the past, 1 pound a day. So that's up to 20 or 22 pounds that you will release. Those of you that are, overweight. Now, you have to be careful on what you do after the detox because it's critical. Because if you go right back to how you're eating now, you'll put all the weight back on. The reason why the length of the detox is 22 days, again, is to establish the habit, but I hope by at that point, you'd be like, hey, I like these new habits. I like my new look. I like the way I look in the mirror. I like the way I feel. I'm light, I'm airy, my head's clearer, my eyesight's gotten better, my skin's cleared up. And by that day 22, you're celebrating, and it's not a celebration of like running out and, having cocktails all night long and eating junk food. This is a purge. A major one, but it's all in the PDF. I'm gonna send it to you. If you're interested, greenboxdetox@gmail.com. And what I will also be including with this to end this part of this, what's your question 37, is I'll be doing Zoom meetings at least a few times a week where you're gonna be able to come in. You don't have to show yourself on camera. You can ask questions. Some of you can speak. Because I want to give you that support, that lifeline. So that way you have full advantage of everything this detox has to offer. All right. So there you have it. Let me get into your questions now. So I just want to let all of you know, if you're interested, greenboxdetox@gmail.com. Some of you have already emailed me. So our vegan recipes included. This detox is all plant-based. Everything. It's all fruits and vegetables. And the soups are lentils and stuff like that. So there's no animal-based products in this at all. So it's all plant-based. Okay. So if you're kind of frowning on that, well, maybe that's your cue to actually jump in. It's a lot of liquid juice. You're going to be just drinking liquid juice all day. Some of you may not be able to handle that. That's exactly what you should move towards if you can't handle that. And I found a way to kind of ward off the hunger pains, and it includes just, you get a bottle of honey or maple syrup, and if you get hungry when the days are just liquid juice, you just do a shot of maple syrup. And that cures the hunger. See, the reason why you do liquid fasting is because you want to give the digestion a rest so it can detoxify. Because when you eat food, the digestion starts to move, and there goes the detoxification the body wants to do, because it has to just turn its energy into digestion. So it's important. And, like I said, I have all the recipes. I have all the videos on how to do it. You can't miss with this. And the supplementation is there, the suggestion. And on top of that, the last thing I will mention is that during this 22-day process, in the PDF that I send you, there are recommended documentaries to watch. Why do we do that? You want to engage at least once a week. You want to watch a documentary on health and wellness. Why? Because you want to keep your mind in the game. You don't want it to go elsewhere. You want to watch these documentaries to keep your mind in the game. So you're just focused on this detox. You're focused on you. And I'm straight up going to tell you folks, you don't want to be going out 3 weeks of your time. You're going to get grouchy. Some of you are going to get irritable. Some of you are not going to be fun to be around. You have to take all these things into consideration. That's why there are some people that don't make it through. They just can't handle it. And if those of you that are, in a partnership with somebody, you got to let your partner know maybe they want to do it with you, because I'm telling you, there's things that come with detoxing, especially this 22-day. Irritability, low toleration, your anger bursts may come out. Lightheadedness, fogginess, these are all signs of detoxing. But I'm telling you, this is a must for those of you that are really toxic, that have never really done a detox. And if you haven't done a detox, like I said, you may not want to go the full 22 days. You may just want to just do 3 days. That's it. At least just get 3 days in. So you can join the detox and do 3 days and then cut loose and go back and see how you feel. But, It's going to be completely up to you. All right, so that's it. So if you guys want to jump in and do that, by all means, please send me an email, greenboxdetox@gmail.com. When does it start? It'll start sometime in July. I haven't actually committed to the date yet, but it will be sometime in July. It may be from the middle of July, and it'll go into the first week in August. Okay, so again, this is like going on vacation. This is how serious I'd like you to take this if you really resonate with this. This is like going on a 3-week vacation and somebody says, hey, you want to come over for dinner, next week? I can't, I'm going on vacation. So there'd be this, instead of saying I'm going on vacation, I'm not able to. I'm actually detoxing during that time. So you want to spend a lot of time alone. This is a time to reflect. Detoxing, getting rid of, purging toxins and parasites. I'm actually taking it a step further. I'm going to be using a product that I really like by Health Force Naturals. It's called Scram. I got it coming. Scram, and it's a parasitic cleanse. Those of you that have dogs and cats and you haven't done a cleanse, what are you waiting for? It says that pet owners are 70% more likely to have more parasites than the average person. Because your dog licks your face, your cat, whatever, the hair and the fur, and they're walking outside. So, I haven't done one in such a long time. I'm not around furries like I used to be, but it's been a long time since I did one, years. So this is like black wormwood or black walnut hull and wormwood and cloves, and these that'll get rid of the parasites. And then the Zen Cleanse, I hope that Santos has been recommending. We haven't been able to get it here in Mexico yet. If you can get it in the United States, man, I'd be all over that. But this is an investment into your health, folks. Okay? All right. So I was a long thing that had nothing to do with what's your question, but I wanted to, part of this, I wanted to get this out to all of you. Is cannabis allowed or not? Smoke away, but the challenge that you're going to have with cannabis is it makes you hungry. There's a price to pay when you partake in that plant. Sometimes, not everybody, but for me anyway, it's not always, but, and I don't do it like I used to. I mean, rarely do I do cannabis these days, but I ingest it, but there's a price to pay sometimes. So if you know that you're going to get hungry, you would not want to take it. Is it low oxalate vegetable? I don't understand that question. These are vegetables such as like we do a green, we do a red. There's beets, there's carrots, there's cucumber. The main staple green is it's going to be a green leaf lettuce or a spinach. There's going to be lemon, ginger, cucumber, celery. Very, very basic. And green apple. Okay? And then the reds will be like beet, carrot, keep it in the red family. Orange, stuff like that. But again, if you're interested, I can send you the PDF. You can go through it and you can see the rest. I have all the recipes, pictures, hyperlinks to how to make it. I've left nothing to question on this. You have all your questions answered in that, and then the Zoom weekly meetings you can come on. All right. So we're at 37, right? We're at, what's your question, 37? Today's card is the 5 of clubs for the life card. And then the spirit card, the handler of this card, is another 5. It's the 5 of hearts. 2 5s. I think it was 2 5s. Just check. Yeah, 2 5s. 2 5s. Pocket 5s. For today's what's your question? 5 of clubs, 5 of hearts. One card is 18, the other card's 5, giving us the 23. Okay. Can't fast, I'd starve. Of course you can fast. Actually, fasting is probably the healthiest thing anybody can do. So you can fast. That's just, you got to get rid of that belief. I know some of you may be very, on the thin side. I realize that, but it doesn't mean, like I said, the average weight reduction, if you're overweight or you need to get rid of some pounds, is about 50. But a lot of that weight that we reduce down is water weight. I don't know if some of you knew this, but you hold on to a lot of water. And to give you an example, when I was competing in bodybuilding, the first show I ever did, I was inexperienced, and my weight class was within 186 to, I think it was 192 or something, or 185 to 192 or something like that. And I remember 2 days before, I couldn't lose any more fat. I didn't have a problem losing fat back then. And I'm doing my mad cardio, my training, I'm cutting back on my carbs, doing everything pre-contest. And I remember it was a day or two before the contest, and I'm not going to make weight for my class. So I'm going to be stuck in the heavyweight class. I was supposed to be in the light heavyweight class. And it's there's no way that I can keep up with the heavyweights. I'm too, lanky. So my trainer's don't worry, when you cut your water, you're going to drop that weight. And I couldn't believe it. But, when you do a contest, typically you're going to stop drinking water the night before, where, mid-afternoon or whatever your trainer has you doing. And sure enough, I literally dropped 8 pounds in one night. So that's how much water we hold on to. A gallon of water is almost 9 pounds. A lot of you have gallons and gallons of water from inflammation and eating shitty foods that are toxic. The toxins just draw in the water, and you just never get rid of it. So apple cider vinegar is amazing. Can use that as well. I take apple. I've got a bottle of Bragg's right over there. I take it, just dump some in a glass. I drink it right before I go to bed. Pre-diabetes is the issue for many people. Yeah. See, the thing is, you have to realize that down below in the chakras, the chakra 1, 2, and 3, the root, the sacral, and the solar plexus, and then the heart rules over those. Down there are the fiery pits of hell, where the Kundalini starts. And the objective is you got to raise the Kundalini, right? You want to keep it down there. But down in those lower chakras is where all the fun's at. Sex and satiation with the stomach. Feed me. The stomach says, hey, I'm hungry. And what do? Hey, I'm hungry. And most people don't even give it any thought. They just the stomach starts to growl and they hey, I got to go eat. I'm starving. We're into this speaking these mad. How often do we say, oh, I'm starving? No, you're not starving. You're not even close to being starving. But we just say these spells. We're not even consciously aware of what we're saying. We're not starving. We're just hungry. But when do you say no? How many times do you actually say, no, I'm not going to feed you? See, that dragon's alive inside of you. And it needs food to survive. And you're not going to, and that's your ego. Your ego's all down in the lower chakras. And you're not going to get rid of it being nailed down to the ground here in duality. You can tame it. And it's just a back and forth, it's heaven and hell. It's just, and the Taurus field of heaven and hell resides in hell. And then hell resides in heaven. It's just a constant push-pull. It's a symbiotic relationship. Many of you are not able to command the dragon and say no. You just instantly say yes, and you don't even give it any thought. And you're off to the grocery store to buy the food to feed the dragon that says, hey, I'm hungry, feed me. So you just got to be conscious of that. Just be authentic with yourself. See, if you're coming to this channel, I'm going to recommend, and you hear me say recommend, I'm going to say you have to. It's suggested here that to be authentic with yourself. We're not trying to impress anybody. Just be you. Just be authentic. Show up authentic. If you say you can, I can't do it, just say that I can't do it. Can't do it right now. You may want to say it in a different way. Speak the magic spell in a different way. But I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, many of you are married to your lower dragons. And you don't want to break that bond. Red Rose, how to heal or keep your heart chakra healthy? I have to see an optometrist for my eyes. I have dark blue rings around my iris eye and was told it's my heart. Well, I mean, I can't give you any medical advice, but I would certainly encourage you to look into sun gazing. Are you sun gazing? What is sun gazing? It's looking at the sun, not directly, when it's the brightest of it all. The sun gazing is typically when the sun is either coming down or going down or coming up, or what appears to be. And you just look at it and talk to it and give it thanks. And you got to do that day in and day out. You can't miss days. I mean, if you're in an area where there's not a lot of sunrise or sunsets, well, but if you can get it, how bad do you want it? And some of you are suffering from eye conditions because your colons are completely backed up. I'm telling you I'm just keeping it real with all of you. Like I've worn glasses, contacts since I was 10. It runs in my family. So genetically I got this. But I've been sun gazing and I've decided my vision, it gets cloudy and I'm like, I haven't done a cleanse in a while. See, when the colon is impacted, you got all the small intestine now. When that sucker's impacted, it has little cilia on it. It's got little, like little things that move as the food moves through it. And what happens is that food gets stuck inside where the things move, and then you can't assimilate food. You can't absorb. So things just pass through you, and next thing you know, you have nutritional deficiencies. That's why you want to scrub that sucker down. Last Jedi, not able to send you an email on it's Greenbox Detox. Greenboxdetox@gmail.com. Please don't send it to my Decode Your Reality. I want to keep this in that space. So I'm not sure why you can't, but I got a ton of emails already. Greenboxdetox@gmail. That's probably why you have it spelled Green Detox Box. That's not the way it's working. But if you have any kind of health issues, are you doing everything necessary to get rid of, or at least help your body improve with the health conditions? Like I said, the reason why I'm doing this is I haven't done a detox in a while. I haven't done a 22-day detox in a very long time. I'm super excited. I already know what I'm going to feel like coming out the other end. Lighter, fresher. My food's going to assimilate more. My eyesight's going to improve. My skin's going to improve. I already know that's what's going to happen. It's already signed, sealed, and delivered. I already know that's going to happen. The payoff, the reward that I get for doing those 22 days is going to be everything I just mentioned to you and then some. So if you have anybody in any conditions, like, Red Rose, you have your eyes. I'm not saying it's not your heart, but you see, the grand fix of all things is to detox the body. Get rid of and purge the garbage. I mean, I think you said you're 36. You have 36 years of intaking a lot of shit. Now, you can be the cleanest person in the world, but you're still ingesting a lot of garbage. And the body gets pretty polluted. If you have anybody of you has digestion issues, diverticulitis, you don't have a clean colon. You don't have a clean digestion, so something's broken. So the way to fix that is stop feeding the body and make it digest. Go on a fast. Go as long as you can. Give the digestion a break so it can repair itself. I'm telling you, man, Brock McDonald, exactly. All disease starts in the gut. Absolutely. You can, I mean, he's saying, you know, I don't do urine therapy stuff. I just can't stomach it. But a lot of Santos does them all the time. He drinks it, does the enemas, and I just do a coffee enema. That's good enough for me. For me, there's a reason why urine is a waste product, but that's me. Logan, do you still exercise? Absolutely. My exercise regimen does not change at all. Matter of fact, some of my best workouts ever have been when I've been on a week-long fast. Oh man, I get so much energy because my body, do you know how much energy your body needs to digest food? A lot. And asking due to not wanting to lose all my muscle gain. Well, you can, if you want to incorporate some protein in there, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you from that, but you will lose some sort of muscle. But man, you know, I mean, for me at this point, and this is me speaking now, right? I'm 49 and a half. I've lived over 18,000 days on this planet, and I've lived a large portion of that through my ego. Wanting to be big and, you know, on stage, just competitive and muscle and I'm at a stage personally where for me, if I lose 5 pounds, if I lose 10 pounds, my health's more important. Like to feel good and not have any complications outweighs the 10 pounds. That's me though. But I'm not stepping on stage. I'm not at a point in my life where I have to, see, the ego is going to want to have all that muscle, not your spirit. The ego wants that. And I get it. I mean, one of the biggest things I ever did to break my ego was buzz my head, and I'm about ready to do it again. Think about a lot of you females too. I'm not saying you would, but imagine you had to shave your head. What would you do? Would you freak out? Because a lot of you are attached to your hair. And I mean, if you're in a partnership with somebody, you ain't got nobody to impress. Like, I have nobody to impress. I'm so comfortable in my skin now. It's like, but I'm telling you, it's like hanging on. Should I buzz my head? And like, I got nobody to impress. Attached to my hair. That's my ego. Just keeping it real with all of you. If you really sit down with this concept and like, if you're thinking about buzzing your head and like, man, whoo, you know, that's a big move for a lot of people. It's like, you're really attached to your hair. Your hairstyle is you. And then you buzz it and like, what will people think? How would they look at me? And this goes right in line with looking good. Life's about looking good. That's why, and the ego is all about looking good. How am I going to look in front of people? I don't want to say the wrong thing, because if I say the wrong thing, I'm going to look stupid. All this chatter, the ego. That's why I said when you go to the dentist, and right before you go to the dentist, what are you doing? You're brushing your teeth, you're flossing. You didn't do that yesterday. Why are you doing it today? Because you know you're going to open your mouth and the dentist is going to be like, damn. Dude, you even freaking brush your teeth? Yesterday you didn't do that. You got salad on your teeth, cucumbers, lettuce, trying to pick out the chia seeds. But if you're going to the dentist, freaking squeaky clean teeth. Why do we do that? Because life's about looking good. It's just really comical. This whole reality is a damn joke, if you ask me. Um, 22-day detox, no wine, absolutely nothing, no alcohol. Alcohol feeds the ego. I know it has resveratrol in it, and I know all the health benefits, but wine is a toxin. Pure and simple, it's all acid. There's no alkalinity in that, and acid feeds the lower chakras. Certainly doesn't feed the upper chakras, nor does it feed the heart. It may make you feel happy. I love wine. I love alcohol. I'm going to straight up, like I like tequila, I like pina coladas, but I don't have them all the time because I know what they do. I train martial arts. How much? Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you get hungry during this detox, you can just do a shot of maple syrup, and it's just sugar or honey. And it's just sugar, and it just gives you that boost and takes the edge off, right? I'm just telling you, like, for me, I have the most energy when I detox. And you're not going to be just not eating food. I mean, you're going to be drinking a lot of vegetables and fruits. So it's not like you're going to be starving to death, right? That's what we say. We're starving. But again, maybe you want to take some time off. Maybe you want to take some time off of your martial art training. 3 weeks is not a long time to take off to invest in your health. Have you decoded dying? I haven't. I haven't decoded dying. I've decoded death, but not dying. Muscle is needed for work. Tracy. Well, maybe this one, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you're resistant towards this, like what I'm telling you, I'm just saying, for me, the rewards that I get after 22 days far outweigh anything else, because I already know what's going to happen at the end of the completion of this detox. I already know what's going to happen. Apple cider vinegar is acidic, but it's a different way. Like if you take lemons, when lemon enters lemon's very acidic, but it's actually alkaline. So it's a little bit different. Apple cider vinegar is a natural cleanser in the body. So when you take that in, obviously it has a lot of benefits, and it utilizes the natural acid that it is. And yes, it can help balance the pH. It's like a natural scrubber. Why would I want to cut my hair? Antennas. Yeah, we had this conversation just on the other day, me and Jordan. Jordan's got long hair, and he's like, I don't cut my hair, and I feel like he mentioned that antenna. I have heard other people say that. The first time I ever heard that, and Jordan mentioned it, was in the German Krill Energy, and the women that never cut their hair, they felt like it was an extension of them. I mean, I got short hair, and I get download central. It doesn't prohibit me from figuring out how this reality works and the machinations of it. So I don't really, that whole Samson story, and, if you end up believing that as your truth, I guess that's what's going to manifest. But for me, I got short hair. For me, it's all about easy peasy. I just I've grown the hair long, and it's just the maintenance and then my head gets hot, and just like, that's me though. Know anything about Hex or Richard Hart? Nope, I don't know anything about that. Joseph, what's my thoughts on cannabis? Well, I feel the best way to do cannabis is to ingest it, because when you smoke it, you get the carcinogenic effects of the smoke and the burning. And over time, that can have its effects, right? And then those of you that use the pens, not a fan of the pens, because that uses oil. And that oil, when you, no matter what, however you heats the oil up, and it turns it into a steam, a vapor, it still has oil in it. And when that goes in your lungs, it gets absorbed. And if you do it on the daily, I feel you end up putting this oil, a film over your lungs. I don't care if it's coconut oil. It's not designed to be layered on the lungs. From everything I've researched, it's not designed that way. Let's get some more music on here. Laura, used to be a bodybuilder. What do you call yourself now? I don't really have a title. Just me, Free Logan. I haven't decoded those self-titles. I just know that was a big part of my life. Competing, bodybuilding, trying to get a perfect body. I mean, I just went through that stage for a long time. Sal, do you believe we're in a Luciferian system? Well, I guess that would depend on what your definition is of Luciferian. Luciferian to me just means light. So yeah, we're in a light system. People like to throw these words around, Luciferian. They don't even know what it really means. They give a definition that's been adopted by somebody. Luciferian, a lot of people say, oh, it means satanic. They don't even know what satanic means. If you know what Lucifer means, it doesn't mean what the church tells you it means. It doesn't mean what the major conscious description of what that word means. See, I don't want to be the popular vote. I don't want to be what's most popular on the world stage. I want to be the wooden cup, the wooden goblet. I don't want to be the gold goblet. Many people are going to be attracted to the gold goblet. I'm not interested in that. Even with, the whole Jesus Christ, the idea of that, it's a beautiful story. But that's exactly what it is. It's a story. And that's not poo-pooing on the idea. I'm not sure if there was a guy here or not. I'm here, you're here. So is it too far-fetched to believe some guy came here and incarnated and was this prophet? Perhaps. But he's not here now. What matters is the now moment, folks. That's it. It's all that matters. And I just don't understand why people need to put their faith in an idea just so they can say, well, that's my permission slip to be a good person. How about just being a good person? How about just being loving and having all those Christ-like traits? The big takeaway is just very simply love. Be love. And you're not going to be love all the time. You want to be slightly love. You want to be slightly alkaline. That's what the blood runs. You want to follow the body. The body runs at a specific 7.3 to 7.4 blood pH. That's right in the dead center. That's the heart chakra. That's the neutrality, the middle path being lukewarm. You came into this world naked. You may not leave naked in the casket. When they do the open casket, I don't know if they've ever done that before, but you're going to go out naked. That's neutrality, folks. Neutrality. That's how you win the game. Lukewarm means neutral. It's not taking a side. It's not creating a symbiotic relationship with something that's the construct of this reality. I mean, if you just take the whole concept of I am no part of this world, well, all religion is part of this world. Why would you want to even partake in that? Everything inside this self-contained system is part of this construct. And I feel like if you want to get out of the game, you got to go right back to how you were when you came into this game, which was neutral. So what does satanic mean? Satanic means service to self. Very simple. See, we need to just simplify these terminologies and these ideas because they're just so convoluted now. Satanic just means service to self, service to the ego, the lower chakras. That's all it means. And then Satan also represents time. Because through time, when you come out into this world as a baby, all of you came into the same world the same way as a baby. When you came out into this world as a baby, you didn't know nothing. That's neutral. And over time, you got programmed to service the ego, your identity. Now it's your identity that starts to run around and show itself. That's the looking good part. See, when you give up these things and you go back to the neutrality state, you become an observer of the game instead of judging it and saying that's bad, that's good. We're never gonna alleviate ourselves from saying these magic spells, but nonetheless, you see, as I mentioned in the podcast with Jordan, the blame game, that's out. That's gone. You might as well kiss that goodbye. That's on its way out. It's gone. Blaming other people and other things, it's you not being responsible for your own life. Well, it's their fault. Just, they make their move, you make your move. You see, if everybody just turned off the mainstream, I was walking back from the gym today, and I was just like, this thought came in. I'm like, man, how would we raise the consciousness of the planet instantly? Well, if everybody for one day just didn't tune in to the mainstream, you'd have these anchors, these news anchors. They'd be, okay, the camera's on, ready, 1, 2, 3, you're on, and nobody would be watching, and they would get the notifications by the analytics. So, hey, nobody's even watching our show. You see, anybody that tunes into the news, you're part of making their paycheck happen. If you turn into the news and you watch it, you're giving them their paycheck. It's not just about currency in the form of money. The paycheck they get is from the attention you give to these people. It's just very simple. Mabio, I thought Lucifer meant false light bringer. I don't even know where people get these concepts. I don't know where you're getting that from. Why do people put false on the end of it? Lucifer just means the light bringer. That's it. Phosphorus, the light bringer. There's just one light that forms this simulation, and it contains duality in it. It's good and bad as we label it. Good cop, bad cop, and they create a symbiotic relationship with one another. I mean, if you just go look up at the sun, that sucker is pure. There's no darkness in that thing. It's just pure white. Imagine just going to live there. Imagine if you could go to the sun and live on the sun. You would have you wouldn't even know what darkness was. You would have to alleviate all of your relationships with everything that is part of the ego and the identity, because it doesn't live up there and survive in that concept. And we don't even know what that looks like. See, we need to focus on this reality that we're in right here. That's it. This reality is all that matters. The now moment, right now. Not last week, not last month, not 6 years ago, certainly not 6 years into the future. Right now is all that matters. And bodybuilder equals 37. What's up, Ethan Rucker? Great decoder, Ethan Rucker. Nice to have you out, brother. Of course it equals 30. My first and middle name is 37. See, those of you that have a first and middle name, you can separate that from your last name. And I will also let all of you know, I have a course coming out. I'm still working on it right now, so sit tight, but I can kind of let a little secret out here, if you want to call it that. See, if you're going to decode your name, I'll also include your mother's maiden name in there as well. Because your mother and father came together, and the uniting of these two last names that go way back far beyond, who knows, thousands of years perhaps, they come together and they form you. So you got to know what your mother's maiden name is and your father's name. And those two come together. Who's her namaste life? Any manifestation tips? Well, I mean, if you want to tap into that consciousness, if it's even possible, since you're asking it, maybe your code was supposed to. I don't know. I'm just having fun with these concepts. I'm huge into vision boards. As a matter of fact, when I do readings for people, a lot of times I'll recommend that they go create a vision board. And, you get a big ass poster board at Michael's or Walmart or a craft store or wherever you shop at. You go buy about 5 or 10 magazines, a pair of scissors, and a glue stick. And then you just sit down for a weekend and you cut out all the things that you want to manifest. And before you do that, what you want to do is you want to write out the top 10 things that you want to manifest in your future, the top 10. And then you circle the top 3. And then eventually you get to the very number one thing that's most important to you. That would go in the dead center, or that would be the biggest piece on your vision board. And the key to vision boards because I've studied a lot of personal development. The key to vision boards is to pay attention to them. So I recommend to people that want to do vision boards, have fun with it. Go window shopping like there's no limitation for you. Don't worry about your current circumstances. Just focus on what you want to have in the upcoming future for yourself, and then create that vision board and then put it somewhere in the house where you're going to see it all the time. And then the key is get in the habit every day to talk to it. Stand by and look at it, observe it. Because you know what most people do? They'll build the vision board, they'll put it in their office, and they don't even pay any attention to it. It'll just become like a piece of furniture that's been there forever. And like, yeah, I know it's there, but I don't even pay attention to it. Because what happens is you conform to it. That's why, like, if you go buy a brand new car, I know some of you buy brand new cars and, you know, it's like the pride of ownership. Like, it's got that new car smell. Someone gets in, oh no, you can't drink coffee in here. Or, oh, don't bring those French fries in here. You can't eat in my car. And then 6 months down the road, you get in the car and there's French fries on the floor in the back seat, and there's coffee stains and with a coffee. What happened? Well, see, you conform to the new car. It's not a new car anymore. It's like not a big deal. So you're like, okay. That's why average person trades their car in every 3 years. That's why they came out with leases. I used to sell cars. Nigel in the house. We got Devil's Playground. It was Harry in here too. Big shout out to those guys. So I got a few slides I'm going to be showing all of you. Let me how many people we got in here? Oh, not bad. Almost 200. Thanks everybody for joining in. Appreciate each and every one of you. And I really mean that. I'm not just saying that. I'm really in the space of right now saying much love to all of you from sunny Mexico, sending you a lot of warm sunshine. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here. Even though we may have never met. It's all good. If all of you came to Mexico, or if we all met up in one centralized location right now, and imagine that, all of us in this chat box or chat room here, we all were able to fly into a centralized location in the world, and it would be like a big mixer party for one night. Imagine that. And I get to meet all of you people. Be cool. I'm Aquarian, so I'm all about as many friends as possible. I would love to do something like that. This is the best we got right here. We just get here and we hide behind our avatars. I'm just having fun with all of you folks. But anyway, be fun to do that. Larry Bird. How do you add up your name? Well, you just take your name, put it into let me just show all of you. Those of you that are new, this right here, currently right now, I use Derek's website. And we're going to be creating our own, not a secret, so I'm not going to be using this very much longer. But nonetheless, this is what I use right here. Derek's website, gematrinator.com. And you got to, the standard is going to look like these. I don't use these like this, so I make some modifications. I check off these right here, get rid of that, go to the reverse, check off those, and then I come down to the other, and then I just click on the Chaldean. This is my primary setup, and then sometimes if I do Greek and Hebrew, which I love doing, I'll tap these off, and there's variations of that. Sometimes I do the primes, and sometimes I do Francis Bacon, but nonetheless, you type in your name here. Like I can type in what I go by here. There's my 37. And then you're going to get a host of numbers, and you can tie these to tarot cards, and I got that coming out with my course. All right. So that's how you do that. Wesley says, I've been stuck in dualistic thinking and loathing, but if you deeply ponder the implications of everything being God consciousness, you may not like it. That's right. See, I came out with this meme. It's on my, I have an Instagram page. It's my Voxter Graphics. I make like just graphic art with memes and stuff. I really like that kind of stuff, but I don't really use it that much. But I created one in there, and it says that a rich man, or I should say a rich person digs for truth. A poor person complains about what they might find. Think about that. A rich person digs for truth. A poor person complains about what they might find. You see, what I'm proposing and suggesting through my decodes and showing and supporting that mankind is following a script, a lot of people, they won't accept that as the truth because they need to be in control. But that we're subordinate. The God consciousness is everything in this reality, and it can't be any other way. The good, the bad, and the ugly. That's a tall order for some people to accept. Like, well, how can that be, you know? And then they're going to, out comes the programming of, no, it's the devil. That's what you're going to get. I just had a lady, you know, this is interesting, the comment. I didn't comment back. I'm refraining from commenting these days. She had said, you know, oh, you should put your faith in the Lord Jesus Christ. I did, and my life is so great. And do you know why that works? Because you're tapping into an energy that's part of this construct. Essentially, you're tapping into a magical system through that idea of Jesus Christ. And the performing of miracles and all these stories get bunched up, and then you tap into that. So when you go and do the ritual of getting baptized and proclaiming yourself as a follower of that, you then tap into that energy. And again, I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying you're tapping into that energy. It's just the force. I mean, I know people who they conjure demons, they talk to demons, and people would freak out about that, but they would say the same thing. My life's never been better. What do we say about that? What is it different for people that actually exercise their time into, you know, a spiritual demon versus a spiritual angel? No, you're tapping into something inside this self-contained system. So yeah, if you feel like you got to run off and partake in that whole energy, great. I personally think that Jesus Christ, that whole thing has been sabotaged, and it was supposed to, because everything's all part of this construct. But the true essence of Christ is it just means love. And for those of you that really want to know the secret of what that is, it's you. Go watch my decode that I came out with called Illumination. If you want to just watch one decode of mine, check out my Illumination Decoded. I showed in there, inside your eye are the 12 apostles, the 12 zodiac signs, and you got the crown of thorns that Jesus Christ wore. You're the Christ. Like as Nigel would say, Jesus is us. That's right. So the return of Jesus, it's already here. You're witnessing it right now through just being love and just allowing other people to be themselves. Not trying to force your ideas upon other people, and certainly not partaking in other people's construct. It's just creating your own reality and living through slightly being love, slightly being alkaline. That's the way, and that's neutral. And neutral is allowing yourself to look at both sides, say, oh, okay, yeah. And you can look down there in hell and be like, man, those apex predators. Man, what are they? Oh my God, I'm so angry they're doing this. But without those people, you wouldn't have, oh my God, these are so beautiful up here. Without those people down there, you wouldn't have those people up there. You see, because it's a symbiotic relationship down here. And I've mentioned this in my last podcast, that the church created the devil by creating a symbiotic relationship with that idea. And the only way the church survives is through the symbiotic relationship of the idea that there's some kind of devil running around trying to get you to sign over to the dark side. It's just your ego, folks. That's why I say be the best little devil you can be. It's just your ego. It's very simple. It's not complex. It's just your ego. Now, are there demons running around in this world? Well, a lot of people conjure them up, so in their world there are. I don't see any. I don't even attempt to conjure any. Does that mean they're not real? No. But I don't mess around with that stuff. I want to be neutral. I don't want to mess around with anything in this construct other than nature. The most I mess around with is nature, the constructs of nature. That's what I play around with. And what I mean by that is, like, when I look at everything on this world, the most popular things in the world, some of them are religion. Not interested in that. To me, that gets you recycled back in. If there is such a thing as getting recycled back into the game, sports and religion, and those will get you recycled back in real quick. That's my opinion. This game needs players, folks. This game is life, and it needs people to operate the system. Otherwise, without us, we are the head honchos in this reality. Doesn't mean, like, when you look down at an ant or a spider, are you better than that? Like, if you consciously sit down and look at, like when you look at the ant, are you better than the ant? Like, toe to toe, are you actually going to say that, yeah, I'm better than the ant? I hope not. You may have abilities far beyond what an ant can do. Like, I can just put my finger and smash it and smush it. But if you actually shrink yourself down to the size of an ant, you got nothing on the ant. The ant can lift so much more of its weight than a human being can. They're smart. They're dedicated. So we have to really look at, like, the only reason why we're superior is because we're taller and bigger and we have more ability and we have thinking ability and all that kind of, but it doesn't mean you're better than the ant. But that's how this reality is worked off of. And I mentioned this in the last podcast with Jordan, and I'm going to say it again because I think this is how it works. This is just a theory of mine now. Santos Bonacci came out with a video a long time ago, and he talked about the mighty star Sirius. And in that video, he said, Sirius is in a binary system with our sun, which forms the Vesica Piscis, which is going to be in theology and the fish and all that. And when Sirius moves away from our centralized location, we go into the dark age. And I believe that we're in the cosmos's dream. And when it goes to sleep, it's at night, it's during the dark age. Sirius moves away. So it's asleep. And when it's asleep, it's lucid dreaming. But then, you're moving around, you're doing all this stuff in this reality, you're creating. Just like right now inside your body, there are all the cells, the trillions of cells in your body. They're right now at this very moment, each and every one of you have trillions of cells, and they're active and they're doing stuff and moving around. There's worker cells and they're just the white blood cell there. Everybody has a job to do. But over time, your body gets polluted. That's how you go to death. Same way this reality works, it's cyclical. We start off like a baby, pure, no blemishes, no programming, the golden age. And then over time, you move away from the golden age. And when Sirius moves away, the cosmos goes to sleep. Then you move into the dark age and the finalized aspect of the yugas, if you will. But when the Sirius returns, the cosmos wakes up. And when it wakes up, it realizes, oh shit, what the hell happened down here? All along, it's been dreaming. But it's run on a script. So these are just theoretical here. I'm just trying to give you an idea. But in order to come back to the golden age, you must get rid of all the cancer cells. That's the coming back of Sirius, the golden age. When you wake up and remember, and realize that you're pure love. Like you're at least neutral. You don't need to blame anything. And everything in this self-contained system is all part of the consciousness. So when you sit there and say it's their fault, when you sit there and do the blame game, you're actually causing harm to yourself. You don't even know what you're doing. Because everything inside this good and bad is all part of the same Ponzi scheme. It's all owned by the same consciousness. And when this Sirius comes back in this concept, when we get back to the golden age, the reset happens. The cleansing of the earth. And then the game starts over again. That's how this works. That's how everything I've researched. All the ancient texts, if you read them, that's exactly what they say. So whatever happens in between the starting point, the golden age, all the way through to the dark age, is all part of the script. It's all part of the movie script. And then it's the cosmos breathing out, expansion. And then when it comes back, it breathes in. It's inhalation. It's going inward, and it's like, I want it all back. I gave it all to you. I want it all back. So it's breathe in and breathe out. Wax on, wax off. Roland, what do you mean by God coming down to play his own game? Well, I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. These are a pair of Ray-Bans. I don't know who created Ray-Bans. Maybe it was Ray and his last name was Ban. I don't know. I'm just being funny. But would it be too far-fetched? Would it be crazy for me to say that whoever was the creator of these glasses, would it be really crazy for me to say that that person has worn a pair of Ray-Bans? Would it be crazy for me to say that this is a Samsung Galaxy? Would it be crazy for me to say that the person who created Samsung has never used a Samsung phone before? Would that be crazy for me to say that? Does Bragg's, who created this nutritional yeast, do you think they use their own nutritional yeast? At least one time? What I'm getting at, folks, is that it would be crazy to think that whatever created this reality hasn't come down here and play out its own game. Of course it has. If we say no, it doesn't come down here, then why would people create products? And they would never use their own products? Doesn't make any sense. So I feel like anytime the architect there's plenty of stories in Greek mythology. Jupiter, Zeus comes down all the time, and plenty of stories of that. Having multiple wives and multiple partners, and then you get all the fallen angel stories, stuff there. Coming down and mating with the women. So that's what I mean by that. And I feel like at any time, the architect can come down and be man. Otherwise, I feel like there's the remote control going on. Let me keep looking here. Sunglasses bad for you. Not really, but I mean, if you have the ones that block out radiation that are polarized, no, I don't think so, but I know what you mean, because you want to get the light in the eyes. That's sun gazing. So, but the whole point of me wearing the sunglasses, again, putting these on, is this should remind you this is the simulation. Those of you that are just joining, well, I wore these earlier. I've worn them through a whole broadcast. The whole symbol of this is to tell you that we're living in a freaking movie. Terminator, I'll be back, sunglasses. Matrix, they wore sunglasses. Free Guy, put the glasses on. They Live, put the glasses on. That's the reference. Dustin's asking, when will the pole shift happen? The pole shift's been happening. The poles have been shifting. And I'm going strictly off of something that I've researched. I can't verify that by my own research. So I'm saying that very loosely. I don't know. And I've studied the pole shift. I've been studying it for many, many, many years. A lot of people think that the poles are moving. And when they do, like if I just use this model right here. So when the poles are here and they're moving, they'll eventually be like a rubber band and they'll snap into place. And when that happens, watch out. That's when the shitstorm. And these are theoretical, right? But maybe there's truth to that. Again, ladies and gentlemen, you see, the thing is, I've relinquished the fear of death. I don't care. Now, obviously, if someone held a gun to my head, yeah, fear would set in, the normal, typical humankind trait. But I mean, folks, if you've adopted the aspect that we don't die, we just move on, and death is a doorway to another dimension, and we can't be killed, energy is just going to be transmuted. Well, then whatever. That's how I roll now, whatever. And I would much rather live from a space of not tuning into the static, because tuning into the static is going to give me a lot of fear. Or at least market to me a lot of fear. So when I shut it off, I don't have the broadcast of fear, the hypnotic trance coming in. And when I do watch it, I just know it's a movie. Just like when I turn on Netflix or Amazon Prime or I watch it, whatever, it's not real. Well, is this reality real? Everybody says, yeah, it's real. Well, whatever's observing us, it's not real to them because it's not them. It's all just fractals. What type of Ray-Bans are these? These are just the classic aviators. A friend of mine gifted my great friend Edmund gifted these to me many years ago. So yeah, these are Ray-Bans. I'm going to get another pair, I think, when I go back to the U.S. But I love Ray-Bans. Just classic aviators. Folks, yeah, we are the fallen angels. We are Adam and Eve, dreamer of Sirius, eating from the tree and forgetting who we are and falling into sin. Sin means the sine wave. It's all electromagnetism and electricity. Matter of fact, let me just give you guys a few sneak peeks to show you how ridiculously coded and scripted this reality is, okay? Here, let me just find this. Let me give you a few slides off of my photon of light and my light decoder. Hold on. So let me start off with this slide right here. And this guy to the bottom right-hand corner, his name is James Clerk Maxwell. And as it says right there, that he was responsible for the classical theory of electromagnetic radiation, which was the first theory to describe electricity, magnetism, and light. And we go straight to the comedy, right? We go right to Chaldean numerology. His name is a 56, which is a direct connect to the words lights. What happens in Hollywood? Lights, camera, action. It's a movie. And the movie is made up of light. And this 56, if you haven't seen my decode on 56, I'd highly suggest you check it out. But it's this element barium, and barium, it means to go down the hole. We go into the belly of the beast. And the 137 is the 33rd prime number. And that should tell you a lot about how this reality works. 33 being tied to the transmutation of energy. And so this guy right here, he was born in Edinburgh. Now this is where it just gets funny, right? So you take the lat, and this is, these are kind of my constructs, my modalities of decoding. they're catching on. A lot of people are finding that the coordinates that they were born at have great significance in their code. You should know what your latitude, longitude is. X marks the spot. But his Edinburgh coordinates, 55 degrees north, 3 degrees west. You add that up, you're going to get 58. 58/59. 59 is the game of life, but he's run by the puppet. Think about it. The guy who ended up creating the first theory to describe electricity, magnetism, and light was James Clerk Maxwell, and the place he was born at has a latitude, longitude of 58, which is a direct match to the word puppet master. How about that? And you just keep going. Here's more comedy. So here is his birth card, born on June 13th, and his death card, died on November 5th. Look at what he's got. He's got the 42. They're both diamonds, by the way. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. Lucy is light. This guy was responsible for magnetism, electricity, and light. And he's got two cards that are associated with the diamonds and Lucy in the sky with diamonds. 42 is tied to Jupiter. 42 is tied to lead, which is light coming down into physical matter. Molybdenum. If you've been paying attention, please check out my last decode, lead to gold. But the pure comedy is that his cards, they end up adding up to 58 again. Right back to the puppet master. 4 diamonds, the Jack in the Box card. 2 of diamonds, the 28th card. 30 and 28 is 58. And it matches his latitude, longitude. Really? And then this is the book that he came out with, discussing the concepts of magnetism, electricity, and light. It was called The Dynamical Theory of the Electromagnetic Field. The subtleties, 41 letters, 7 words. 417 is Lucifer the Light Bringer. It's 153, which is going to be tied to theology. This scripture, John 21 verses 11, it's going to talk about the fish, the 153 fish. Cast your nets over to the right side of the boat. And this is serious in our sun as well. But if you do the numerology through alchemy or the alchemology, 21 is scandium, 11 is sodium. It's going to give you 67 when you add it up. That's holmium, the most magnetic element on the periodic table. So when you take the scripture that talks about the 153 fish found from this book title in numerology of 153, and you do the alchemy of the 21 and the 11, it ends up adding up to the element holmium. And holmium is the most magnetic element on the entire periodic table, and it's tied to his book title, Electromagnetic. And then just to kind of put the nail in the coffin, 153, go look at his birthday. He was born on June 13th. He died on November 5th. What do you see right there? The 1, the 3, and the 5. The 1, the 3, and the 5 right there tied to his book title. Right there, folks. And so it's all about this electromagnetism. This is what we live in. We live in an electromagnetic world. It's the prison planet. And it's a 59. It's the game of life. The game of life is 59, made up of electromagnetism. And it's going to be tied to this element right here, praseodymium. And there's the prison bars. It's the sign of Gemini. And Gemini's the 3rd zodiac sign, representing pi 3.14, which is going to be tied to Mercury and the 2 twins. This is your Kundalini rising. It's right here. This comes from this Greek word meaning the green twins. And the light that we see first is this lime green color when it comes into the eyes, into the black suns. This is the script, folks, that's playing out before us. That's the script. That's just one piece of literally now thousands of decodes I have either put out or I have in my computer, saved on hard drives. I have so much material showing the same kind of outcomes. I mean, a simple guy James Clerk Maxwell, his life wasn't even his own. He was doing his job, living out his script. Just funny. I mean, If you can wrap your mind around what I just showed you, if you're new to this and you're like, well, what does that mean? And just keep watching. If you're really resonating with this, just keep watching. Keep watching the decodes and you'll finally, one day it's going to click. Peach Gematria. Want to hear more about my experiences at JW? Yeah, no problem. I have no problem saying that. I was born into it, and my mom was a converted Catholic. My dad wasn't religious at all. Never went, didn't care. He was kind of the smart one. In my eyes, not to say anything bad about my mom. My mom, she's still a Jehovah's Witness. That's what she's dedicated to. I commend her for being dedicated to that. And again, I'm just an observer, so I don't judge. Like, if that's what works for you, it's not my journey. But I was raised in it, and then it was really challenging as a child, a kid, growing up in a school. I was in a very small school. My graduating class was like 86 people or something like that. Very small. So I was, luckily, I could have been in a school with a lot more people. I got picked on. Didn't pledge allegiance to the flag. Kids would stand up. I wouldn't stand. Didn't go to the Christmas parties. Didn't go to the birthday parties. Couldn't partake in any of that stuff. So it was challenging. I did go door to door and knock. I never got baptized. And that was the big mark for me. I didn't get baptized. But it was interesting. Growing up, I had limited friends, had limited time with friends because it was called bad association. Couldn't hang out with people that were called worldly people. That's how they labeled them. So it was very debilitating. And then when I finally, at 16, I said no more. And I told my mom I'm out. And then I made up for lost time. I just went out there and, just lived life. And then I went back to it a few times throughout life. But even when I got out of it, it still haunted me with the whole idea of dying and never be living again. That's the whole concept of the JW. If you're not a chosen one, if you're not saved, you'll be killed, and that'll be the end of you. And that concept ruled my life for a long time. I literally lived in fear for a majority of my life. It was tough living through that. And when I got rid of that monkey off my back, it was very freeing. And again, now I just look at the JW organization. It's an archetype. That's all it is. It's a new age religion. It came out in 1871. Charles Taze Russell, who seemingly was part of the Freemasonic Society, or the Rosicrucians, or one of those. Kind of interesting. But anyways, I still got friends. I know people that are still in it. There are a lot of great people in that organization. There's a lot of great people that are Catholic. There's a lot of great people that go to Baptist church every Sunday. There's a lot of great people that are Mormons. There are a lot of great people that are Seventh-day Adventists. There are a lot of great people that are Jewish. There are a lot of great people that are still practicing Zoroastrianism. I can't even pronounce it. It's a long word. There are a lot of great people that practice, Buddhism and Sikhism and Taoism. And just got to come in with non-judgment and then really own that space. Yeah, the JW, they've moved their corporate office. They're actually now in Tuxedo Park, New York. Which is so funny because I've done all the numerology and it's all the 96, which is the yin yang. The 90s, just so you know, if you take Jesus and Lucifer, those two words, and you do the alchemology of those two words, you're going to get 96.096. It's the yin yang twice on both sides of the decimal. And whatever owns that space owns those two titles. Then you're going to get people, oh, it's not Jesus, it's Yeshua. And I'll show you it's the same thing. Doesn't matter. It's going to be the same thing. Have I studied Rosicrucian? A little bit, but not enough to even have a fluent conversation with anybody. I just study, esoteric and sacred geometry and symbols, and what you're seeing in my decodes. I'm literally living out the epitome of being in my wheelhouse. Like I'm very comfortable doing it. I feel like I was born to do it. And it's part of my destiny to show you how this reality works. I'm not, like I say, I can't remember who gave me, I can't remember her name. She gave me she's like, you're a tour guide. And I'm like, oh, that really resonated with me. Forgive me, I don't remember your name. I did a reading for her. She was amazing. I know she was a nurse. Tiffany, I think is her name. Tiffany. She said, you're a tour guide. And it really kind of just like, I really resonate with that. And then now I just kind of own that. I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm a tour guide and I'm going to bring you to the amusement park called life, but I'm not going to tell you what rides to get on. I say this in my readings now to people because they're not my rides. Your rides are not my rides. So why would I even try to argue with you like, oh, you're not tall enough to get on my rides. Remember that? You go to some amusement parks, you got to be this tall to get on the ride. But anyways, You're literally seeing somebody, myself, living through their, like I am doing my job to the fullest extent of doing my job, my responsibility. And not everybody's going to resonate with it. I'm totally fine. I'm not after the likes, the subscribers. I do appreciate the feedback and it keeps me going. Yes. Because I do involve my ego invested into my spirit because we all have that. And to say otherwise would be completely an ignorant statement. But nonetheless, you're seeing somebody who is doing their job to its fullest extent. How can I get the green box? So there's no getting the grid. It's I don't know if you missed out on it, but I'll probably say it again, but I'm offering a detox for people that want to jump in and really change their lives. It's called, you can just email me. It's called greenboxdetox@gmail.com. Tell me you're interested in that. It's going to start sometime in July. I'll give you all the details. We're going to do a Zoom. I'm going to do an introduction. Everybody can come on. we're probably going to get a lot of people in there. So the goal is to maybe get like 100, 200 people in there and then see who makes it to the end. Any psychic readings that shocked you? I've gotten very few. Readings. The very first reading I ever got was by a guy named Ronald Bard. And he was a very beautiful man. I met him in Los Angeles when I was living in Los Angeles. He was a friend of my friend Karen's. He was born into a psychic family. His mother was a very famous psychic. Last name is Bard, B-A-R-D. And he was over in Japan. He was a pretty big name in Japan. He was the very first guy that gave me my very first reading. And I have it actually still on audio saved on my computer that I listen to from time to time. And the one thing I can tell all of you, just so you can know about me, okay? And this is just keep this from a neutral position. This is not me trying to tell you anything, brag about myself. Somebody asked me psychic stuff. Ronald Bard, my first psychic I ever got, in the reading, he told me that I was a prophet and I have a message for the world. I didn't know what it meant at the time. And at the time I got the reading, I was awaiting to go to prison, which I've mentioned in many podcasts. It's in my code, in my destiny. But it was a whole transition period for me. These times in Los Angeles, I was living in Los Angeles from 2009 to 2011. Then I went away for a little bit, and then I came back. But it was in between that time frame when I got my reading, my psychic reading from Ronald Bard, and he didn't even know me. And he approached me. He's like, "Hey, I feel like I got to do a reading for you." And he was a friend of my friends, so I agreed. And that's what he told me. You know, amongst, we sat there for 4 hours, so a whole bunch of other stuff. And again, you know, like, forget about, like, oh, prophet. Like, I don't care about the title. So I don't care. What you're seeing is my job. I'm doing my job, folks. Just doing my job, my responsibility, what I incarnated to do. That's it. That's what I'm doing. And a lot of you could say you're prophets. You could say that, like, oh, I'm a prophet. If you feel like you're a prophet, great. But don't get the Messiah complex. Don't go around saying, because I get people like they'll email me and they're like, oh my God, they get the Messiah complex. I'm like, well, how about I put you in the room with all the other people that send me the emails that say they're the Messiahs? You guys can talk amongst yourselves. Not in that space. Everybody is unique in this chat room. Everybody is great in this chat room. Everybody has love in this chat room. Everybody has fear in this chat room. Let's just keep it real. Just find out what your job is. Find out what your code is. And then don't let anybody take that away from you. Own that space. Vamos, vamos a la playa. I mean, I don't know if you're being funny, like I am the real Messiah. Okay. I've heard, if you're being serious, I can tell you, get in line. There are so many other people that think the same thing. But that was me being really vulnerable with, you know, I don't share a lot of my personal life because it's not about me. I'm just here to help, man. I'm here to be the tour guide. That's it. Yeah, the music is getting good, Brent. This artist right here is called Dream State Logic. I exclusively, most of the time, use his music in the presentations, the same song over and over, but I love the song. It keeps you engrossed. But this song right here is Dream State Logic. Larry Bird, we're all prophets. Absolutely. Like I said, my story is just like, but many of you may have heard the same thing. You've been told that, like if you feel that in your bones, whatever, don't get ego with it. Be neutral with it. Like, I own that space. And when he said that, like when that psychic gave me that reading, the guy never met me. I didn't hang out with him. I met him at my friend's house and he approached me. And I wasn't nearly at the space I was at now. I mean, I was on an indictment, you know? I mean, I put that behind me and I'm just like, whatever, man. I'm not going to let it control my life. But I was coming from down, I'm going up. And, you know, I've said this so many times before, I made lemonade out of that. Lemon. Like, when I went away, it was the greatest experience, one of the greatest experiences in my entire life. I made lemonade out of it. I mean, I read over 100 books in 18 months, sometimes 2-3 times. I taught myself how to meditate, met some really cool people, was doing some training in there. I mean, I made the most. I made lemonade out of it. And it didn't define me. I defined it. It was awesome. I mean, would I voluntarily want to go do it again? Of course not. But again, it's just so hilarious. My cosmic code. I have the card. For those of you that want to get a good kick out of my code, just to show you how scripted my reality is, and I just surrendered to it. I don't try to run it and control it or think anything otherwise. But here's my birth card right there in the tarot. It's the only card that's trapped and limited. And in my code, to satisfy this, I go to prison. Both my parents worked in the prison system, both for the state of Connecticut. It's just funny. Oh my God. It's so hilarious, man. I'm telling you. That's why I think the best thing you could do, discover why the hell you're here. And then surrender to it. Because you ain't changing it. You can maybe dance around a few things here and there. But, you know, I mean, we just talked about with the Syncretism Society with William and Dance of the Zodiac and how your facial features are a big portion of your rising sign of astrology. That's was written in the script that way. So funny, man. John Steele, military was I went in military too. I served during Desert Storm. I've been overseas. Yeah, it was kind of a prison, but I enjoyed it. And then I didn't enjoy it, you know? Did my time and that was it for me. Looking at your comments. Somebody mentioned the Squid Games. That's I mean, if you want to really see a sneak peek of perhaps that theory I mentioned, that the architect or architects come down and play this game out, go watch the show Squid Game. I did a decode, not on Squid Game. I cannot remember the decode. But I did a decode and I included Squid Game in there and I showed from that show snapshots. I actually showed a clip from there. Those of you that have seen that show, the old man who was really the originator of the game, he was a player. And he said in that show, Squid Game, he said there's more fun playing than watching. And I decoded it. And I decoded the actor that played that and his birthday and his card. It's all part of the script. I'm telling you folks, man, we're in a movie and this movie is playing off of a script. How much leeway do we have? Who knows? But I know there's a script playing out. I know that for sure. JT1111, what do you think a near-death experience is? Well, it's part of your journey. I mean, rather than looking into it on a very detailed layer, if you had a near-death experience, what did it teach you? See, every situation that you get into has something to teach you. We just may not see it because life gets in the way. How would one decode their life purpose? Tammy Horton. Well, there's many layers to decoding your cosmic code specifically. I have a decode on my, I have a how to decode yourself on my channel. If you go to my channel, on this channel, if you go to the homepage, as a matter of fact, let me just show all of you. I want to just show all of you something anyway, but let me just go to my page here. So if you go to my page, this is what it's going to look like. Of course, it's not going to have this. It's going to have my how to decode yourself video. It's going to be right here. If you come to this Decode Your Reality channel, it's going to be right here on the main video page. Okay? And that would be the video to tap into, to look at. Here's all the videos I have. And if you want to search for a video, all you got to do is come over to this little magnifying glass right here and click on it. So how to decode yourself. And there it is. This is the video that has got the most views, almost 60,000 people now. Thanks everybody for supporting that. And this would be the place that I'd suggest you start. And it's 10 layers on how to decode yourself. And I do have a course I've been working on, coming out with. It will be much more detailed, a very simple little trick to really create your specific code. And you'll never need to get anybody's opinion on what it means to interpret your charts. I mean, getting a reading is great. I do readings, but this is if you're somebody who likes to do your own research, you're going to want to do that. You should also do your totem pole. Santos, I was able to use Santos as the guest for this, the totem pole. And I would definitely also decode your name through the Francis Bacon numerology. These are all part of, if you go to my playlists, you can go to the how-to section, which is right here, the how-to series. Okay. And if you click on that, here are the videos I have, how to decode through the satanic cipher, decode your birthday. So these are all where I would start. These 7 videos, watch these, especially this very first one, how to decode yourself, and just go through that. That would be the very first place I would start to decode yourself from, is that video right there. Angel Reigns, how long have I been doing these decodes? My channel I created in 2000, and this channel I created in 2000. I think it was 2000 and let me see. It was either 18 or 19 when I created this one. 2018 is when I created this channel, but I've been decoding since 2012, 2013. Right around that time frame. I just wasn't at this level. And again, ladies and gentlemen, see, I was born to do this. I already know that. I don't need anybody's permission or acknowledgement on that. I already know that what I'm doing, I'm supposed to be doing. Which is why when I wake up and I put my feet on the floor, I say to myself, I can't wait to start today. What am I going to do today? I can't wait. Like sometimes I don't want to go to sleep because I want to keep doing what I'm doing. Content creating, decoding, doing presentations, doing podcasts, doing these lives with all of you. I love living life. That's why I think it's just, I don't know why people I get some people what's the point if it's it's like, what do you mean what's the point? Life's amazing. Scripted or not. It's amazing. And that's if you got a good code, right? 'Cause some people may have, some of the things I don't say is, I'll say this, be really raw with all of you. Some people just they got a shitty code. Can they change that? Well, if it's scripted, but think about it, man. If you're born in a situation where, you're born in a war-torn city, you're supposed to. And then, I say life's a joke. It's just got to have fun with this. I'm coming from a space where I can do that. Some people can't. They get offended by that. How can you do that when there's this happen? What am I going to do? Just go be that kind of energy just because it's that? No, you see, if you got a really good code, folks, if you're someone who's and maybe you're on the fence, maybe you're coming out of it. Maybe you're really down in the depths, but you're like, I'm not going to stay here. And you're going to come up. So if you're in that space, okay, I can, why would you even want to lower yourself down to the frequency of a shit code? Because your job is to raise the frequency. So if you turn off the news and if you don't pay attention to the negative people and the cancer on the world stage, you then take your gas, you take your power back, you raise your frequency, and that ripple will be sent out into the world. That's what makes change happen from a conscious level when we all group together and do that. If each and every one of you right here were just to stop giving your energy to social media and stop giving your energy to the mainstream, turn it completely off, what would you do at that time? I know some of you right here in this chat room, you will watch the mainstream news tomorrow. You're going to watch it. Some of you in this chat room right here, and this is not judging you, some of you love your dirty laundry. I mean, I can absolutely prove it with my channel. You'll see. I'm gonna make a prediction here, which I don't really do. I have a decode coming out on the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. And I will bet that decode will blow up. I'll bet. I bet it will. Why? Because it's dirty laundry. That's why. People love dirty laundry. So, yeah, folks, we're in an age where we're coming out of this now. So you may have a shit code right now, but nothing's permanent. Nothing's permanent, right? There's always change going on. So your circumstances may seem dire to you right now, but they're not. I mean, are you going to live your life like they're permanent? A lot of you live your life like it's permanent shit. It ain't going to get better. And a lot of you like to live in that code because you're used to it. You like to have friends that suck your energy dry because you don't want to be lonely. You like staying in the relationship even though it's sucking you dry because you don't want to be lonely. So you'd rather have the shit just so you can satisfy not being lonely. So that's what a lot of people do. See, I'm coming from this space where, like I've been by myself for so long now, and I own that space, and I love it. I love it. Now, will it change? Maybe one day, but I'm not looking for it. I'm not attached to that. Don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I have surrendered. Not surrendered to where like I'm this pushover, surrendered to the fact that like I just roll with whatever comes my way. And then if something downloads in my little voice in my head, I entertain it. Think about it. Study it. Like, am I going to stay in Mexico forever? Probably not. Where am I going to go to next? Where do I want to go? What's my little voice in my head urging me to go to? I mean, my whole trip to Mexico, maybe you're the same way, folks. If you look at your life, you'll see it's scripted. You'll see the code. You will see it. All right? You're going to see the code. So for those of you that think, well, you can change, you can do it, like I'm not, Crypto Starling say all code can be hacked. Well, okay. Show me how to hack it. Because I have gone down the rabbit hole deeper than most people would ever dare to go down. I haven't found out a way to hack it. I just surrendered to it. And I'm having the time of my life. I just think that's the whole point of it is, see, there's something beyond the scope of mankind that's far superior to us, whatever that is. You can call it God, for starters. You can call it Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. You can call it Yahweh. You can call it Allah. You can call it Mazda. You can call it Brahma. You can call it whatever. All these constructs to me are all the same. You can call it whatever you want to call it. But it's far superior to us. So it's just like, rather than not trying to define that, I think whatever created this reality, you can't define it. And if you can define it in here, it's not it. That's not the it. But when you surrender to your code, you become free, essentially free. Right? You become seriously free, folks. If you want to be free, study your code. And then if you want to really get free, if you're in a partnership with somebody, study their code. Many of you have husbands and wives and you don't study their code. You just end up living with what they show you. And then you don't even see them coming and you're like, I don't like the way you do that, but that's just their code. It's like, well, what do you want me to do? Change for you? A lot of you will sacrifice love just so you can be right. Thank you, Werner Erhard. He said that Werner Erhard, the great Landmark founder, he says, I'll bet anywhere in your life where you're sacrificing love, you're trying to be right. Think about that. Anywhere in your life that you're sacrificing the layer of love, you're trying to be right. And we all do it because we're not authentic human beings. So when we study people's code and then they show up a certain way and we see that code expressing itself, how could you even remotely get mad at that? That's the code. That's their blueprint. Then all you gotta do is manage your reaction towards it. That's what you gotta get good at. Many people suck at that. Many people do not know how to manage their reactions. They just react automatically without any thought to it. When you're living in the now moment, you can have a different way to react to things. And then when you study your partner, especially like if I ever get into a relationship again, I am going to know exactly how that person shows up. I want to know their card, birthday, life path, Enneagram, personality type, astrology, wheel, Vedic, Western. I want the whole gamut, everything. I want to know what makes you tick. Because when I see you coming, and I'm saying this is what all of you that are in relationships right now, some of you can't stand your partner because you're trying to be right. I know you're going to say, oh, no, they're this and that. That's you trying to be right. It's them, it's their wrong. That's you trying to be right. You're sacrificing love just so you can be right and point the finger and say it's their fault. And it may, like I said, I'm not saying it's not their fault, but if you can be neutral and take a step back, it's very freeing to be neutral. When you point the finger, it's their fault and they're not doing this. It's all you trying to be right and you're sacrificing love and you're going to be living in the lower chakras. It's really simple to see. I can see it because I'm not in a relationship. I'm not in the trenches. So it makes it really easy for me to see this. But if you're somebody who's in a relationship, you probably can't see it. Steve Smith, I've already decoded the Schumann resonance. Yes, the Earth's heartbeat, 7.83, right? 7.83? 7.8. It's kind of interesting because 7 is nitrogen, 8 is oxygen, and that's primarily 99% of the air we breathe. Nitrogen is the 7th element, oxygen is the 8th. 7.8 is the Schumann. I know it's 7.83, but and it's going to be, to me, the Schumann resonance is 7, and then the 83 is going to represent. You always want to check the alchemy of this. Our reality is made up of alchemy. That's the big secret. I'm telling you, it's alchemy, man. And 7 is nitrogen. 83 is called bismuth. Bismuth is the most diamagnetic element on the entire periodic table. Diamagnetic. And if you don't know what that means, go look it up. D-I-A, magnetic. Diamagnetic. I'm not going to do it for you. You go read it if you're interested. Crypto Starling, if we are gods, the code can be changed. Every time you make a decision, your future code changes. If that's what you want to believe, I mean, See, I can give you a prime example of like, and let's get rid of the whole gods concept, right? Like, maybe we're gods, right? I mean, I think we're the architect in human form. It's experiencing its own reality, right? So essentially it wrote the script and then it's living out the script. I don't really know how else to describe it when I've decoded over 300 things now that show the script that's played out. But anyway, to give you an example of my life being scripted, okay, and I've surrendered to that, is that like when I first came to Mexico, I had a friend of mine, really, the card reader, Sharon Jeffers. Okay, she's an author of the books Cards of Destiny, and I've done a podcast with her. She's a good friend of mine. And she invited me to come to Mexico. She lives there part-time in central Mexico called San Miguel de Allende. And I was living in LA and I was kind of in transition. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I already had a place set up. It was easy peasy for me. And when I got there and I started living there, I stayed there for a while. Well over 6 months, 8 months, I think, or something, 9 months. But anyway, the signs started to appear. Now, the building that I moved into was built around the 1940s. I was born in 1973. But yet the signs in the building, the things that were being shown to me, I was supposed to see them, meaning that I was supposed to go and live in that building. And the building was built 30 plus years before I was ever born. So I don't really know how you would take that. And folks, I could show you so many things from that place that I was living at, all the signs that I was supposed to be there. That place was built, not for me exclusively, but that place was built knowing that I was going to come there 30 years after it was built. And this is just one example. Same thing when I came here. I had my signs when I came here to Puerto Morelos. So, I mean, I don't know how the code would change, and there's no way to prove that. What I can prove is the code being played out, showing that. That I can support. And I'm the doubting Thomas. I'm the guy I need to see it. I need to be proven. I'm not a faith dude. I'm not that guy. I do have faith in some things, yes, but I'm not the guy just let go and I've let go and surrendered to my code. But if it's something I want to see it. Going through your comments. Well, a lot of great comments. Ethan, what is the operating frequency of Earth? 138. I love it. That combination of numbers. Now that, I found the 138 through Lanthanum, and I knew because it means to lie hidden. So studying the periodic table for years now, when I finally realized and I broke down the icon and the lens made in Japan, and Japan being the land of the rising sun, and it's just really fascinating. But then when Jason from Archaics told me about the 138, I was like, I had bells going off, and it just furthered my research. So that 138 can be moved around, the 831, the 813, but it's this combination of these numbers, and the 1 and the 3 are, to me, the very, very powerful numbers together, because the 1 is the golden ratio, the starting of it, 1.61, and then pi is 3.14. So it's the 1 and the 3 are the 31, 31 being the 11th prime number, and the 13 being a prime number as well. But these constructs, as if you saw my lead to gold, are super powerful. The 3 and the 1, and then we have the 8 along with the 3 and the 1. So the 8, of course, is the torus field itself. So that's exactly what the 138 means. It means magic creating the torus field. That's what the 138 means. Magic is number 1, fire. 3 is creativity. And 8 is the power, is the torus field, the battery. 138, magic, creation, torus field. That's what the 138 means. I'm telling you that 138 combination of numbers, man. You got to know what you're looking for if you're decoding. Like, if you see the number 988, what does it mean to you? What does 988 mean? You see 9, like everything's trying to tell you something. Most people don't pay attention because life gets in the way. That's why the simpler you become in your life, the easier it is to see the things. When you have a very complicated life, well, the code, you're just not going to see the code as much. Now, I'm not saying you can't. A lot of you have complicated lives. What I'm saying is, imagine if you released a lot of the complications, how much more clear vision you would have. A lot more clear. Because now there's nothing in your way. Yeah, John Steele, more fun with the periodic table and decoding through it than I did in 9th grade chemistry. Man, I got a C in science. That's what I got. I didn't even like it. Now I can't get enough of it. I can't get numbers and physics and... Crypto Starling, you saw the signs and made the decision to stay changing your projection. When I went to Mexico, I didn't even know the building I was going into, had no idea. And when I got there and I started to get settled in, I started to see the signs. So I went in sight unseen, which I've done a large portion of my life. And now that I've decoded my life, I've looked at the latitude, longitudes, the addresses of the places. My whole life's a complete script. I'm just following the script. It was all predestined. So I believe in predestination. I've proven it now. I shouldn't even say proven it, because a lot of people would take that. I've supported it. I'm going to be very loose on that. I have supported in over 300 videos now that we live in a predestined script. Predestination means the script is already written before you got here, meaning you're not going to change the script. Now, if you have other information, those of you, and I love a challenge, but if you can prove that the script's not predestined, I'm all ears. Please show me. People get mad because they're like, because you have to, it's like you have no control. That's why people don't want to accept it. If it's predestined, and that's why all the suffering's allowed. Suffering's allowed because it's not real, number one. This reality is not real. It's a movie. So when you watch somebody getting shot and killed on the movie screen, it's not real. That person didn't really die. In this reality, it's real to us, but not whatever's observing it. We're entertainment. Mankind is an experiment. And I know people, if you got to get past the horror in that. But these are concepts now that have been coming up in everybody's lives, and they're seeing it. And when we start doing collaborations, and Jason from Archaics is another great example, telling you, we live inside of a simulation. I mean, go. I mean, his stuff varies a little bit from mine, but it's telling the same story. And then we meet. I meet him on Syncretism Society. Thank you, Santos Spinacci and Danny and all those over there. Because if it wasn't for them, if I wouldn't have been here, I wouldn't have met that dude. I wouldn't have gotten invited to do the podcast, which I'm doing next Saturday again with Jason from Mark Higgs. I can't wait. It's like that. That's what I'm saying. It's scripted. I was supposed to come here. It's just so beautiful when you can just see it. But you got to have the eyes to see it. Brentwood, I don't know if this is, does not mean you did not. So some people think, like I have a friend who reads Akashic Records. Her name's TN. She's a beautiful person. And I did a podcast with her. And she said that we got to choose our lives. We got to choose our parents. We got to choose our script. Okay. That's all great. So then I posed the question. Did the serial killer get to choose their life? Their script? Or do they get a hall pass? They didn't get to choose theirs. Did the people that commit mass murders and stuff like that, did they get to choose their script? Or did they get a hall pass? The people that doing all these horrible things, did they get to choose their script? That's the question I'd have for anybody that reads Akashic Records that thinks you get to choose your life. And then again, so then if that is the truth, if we really get to choose our lives, this reality can't be real. Because you can't make an exception on somebody because they're doing something bad. And then, would you really choose a life of living in a war-torn city for almost your entire life? Would you choose that? And then, if some people say, well, I needed to go through that. These are concepts. I just wish people would study the microcosm. It's a great channel. I've mentioned them many times. It's called Journey to the Microcosm. Let me just show all of you that. Promote these guys because they're awesome. But you see, when you start to study these concepts right here, here's this channel right here. I'd highly suggest subscribing to this channel and watching these videos. Journey to the Microcosmos. And you go see the predators down here and the prey getting killed down here. All these great videos. Look at all these. And go look and see what's under a microscope. And your definition of this reality will change. Because you don't see this. These right here. Dust mites. It's like, what's the point of these things? What do you think? You think there's multiple creators of this stuff, or is it just one creator? Or how did he get here? And why are there predators down here? See, there are predators inside your body right now. There's predators in your body, and they have to feed off something because there needs to be a symbiotic relationship. Life and death are symbiosis. How do you follow a script that you don't know till the past event? You just surrender to the script. You just listen. You make it very simple for all of you. Okay, if you want to live out your best life, maybe you're supposed to hear that message. And then, in those of you that believe in free will, you have the ability to either act on what I'm saying or not act upon that. Again, these are all theories. We can't prove anything, so we have to have fun with this stuff. So, if you believe you have free will, and you're hearing this message, and I'm saying the best way to live your life is to decode yourself. And you're like, oh, that sounds pretty good. I think I'll go do that. And you go do that, like countless people that have done that now, that I've encouraged to do that. And I'm getting testimonials and people sending me emails and their lives are increasing and getting better. And I'm like, okay, I'm onto something here. But if I say, well, they were supposed to hear that message, they were supposed to do that, can I prove that? No. I can decode and show you the script playing out though. I can do that. But instead of trying to figure that stuff out, what I'm just saying is that let's just say, go decode yourself. Go figure out what makes you tick. Some of you don't know your passion. Some of you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. Some of you don't know the journey that you're even on. Some of you are not living out the lives that are really making you happy. You're living in a code right now that you don't like, you despise. You're in a relationship you don't like and despise, but you don't have the courage to come out of it. And partly the reason why people don't have the courage is because they don't have all the tools in the toolbox. And all the tools in your toolbox are your cosmic code. Astrology, numerology, Enneagram, personality type, human design, gene keys. These are all layers to who you are and why you're here. If you don't look at all of them, how can you honestly show up to work? It's like you're a mechanic and you show up to work with your toolbox and all your sockets are missing and you don't have a screwdriver and you don't have your adjustable wrench. And then you got to fix this car and you're like, I don't have the tools to fix it. That's how some of you live your lives. You walk into work is life, and you show up with a toolbox that's like half empty. Well, how are you going to have the best experience when you only have half the tools? You see, we're moving into the I know thyself age. The Aquarian age is about I know thyself. You can find pretty much anything at the click of a mouse, if you're willing to dig. So there's no excuses. And then when you start to read about your cosmic blueprint and you like, oh my God, that would totally make me happy. And then I had this idea and now I can see my life path and then it just clicks one day. And you read it again and you read it again. See, I went through a large, many years of personal development. Before I got into this whole mystical side of myself, before I got into the psychic abilities and all the stuff I'm experiencing now, before I even got into this kind of stuff, I was a huge proponent of personal development. That's all I did. Matter of fact, when I got indicted and I moved back to LA, I was like Mr. Personal Development. Bob Proctor, Born Rich, The Secret, so many books, and that's all. I turned the radio off, turned music off, and I would just get in my car and I'd drive a lot and I would listen to Bob Proctor over and over and over. I could literally recite it verbatim. Born Rich. I love the whole series. If you want to, if you're not earning a lot of money, go watch Born Rich. Just dedicate your life for 6 months. Watch it over and over and over and over. How much? Over and over. That's why a lot of you are good at your jobs, because you got a lot of practice doing it. But you don't have a lot of practice at your own personal life because you don't have all the tools of your own personal life. You're showing up like empty-handed. So I studied a lot of personal development for many years. And I learned through, Bob Proctor mainly was a huge mentor of mine. Repetition is what wins the game. That's what makes you really good at something. Doing it over and over and over and over. And that's exactly what I suggest to people when I do the readings and I give them their reading. I'm like, don't just let this video sit. I encourage people to record your video. Your reading. And watch it over and over. How many times? As many times as you want, but more than once. Like I read about myself a lot, not because I'm egotistical, but because I want to understand the functionality of what it makes to be me. To give all of the ripple out on the world stage, the best ripple. And it humbles you. Because then you start reading about other people and you're like, oh, wow, they have their own strengths and weaknesses. See, when you figure out what your weaknesses are with your code, you can manage those. Like Bob Proctor says, focus on your strengths, manage your weaknesses. Pretty smart. Focus on your strengths, manage your weaknesses. I mean, if you're somebody who's the fire starter and you're the seed planter, maybe you're somebody in your code, like, man, I procrastinate and I don't really get things done. Maybe it's in your code to do that. And maybe you'd be really good at starting shit and then handing the projects over to somebody else and hiring them and let them finish it, the great finishers. And you create a relationship with that person and you get a little something of something that you never would have finished. A lot of you have started projects that you've never finished them and they're just sitting there. And if you would have completed them, you'd be earning money off of them. If you would have taken that project and just given it to somebody else and said, hey, you know what? You're a finisher. And you got to know who the finishers are. Study other people's codes. That's why the cards and the birthdays, I know who to go to. Like if I'm going to assemble a cast or a team, I know who I'm going to, I can tell by the cards, by the rising signs and by the midheavens and all these layers. You can then start to pick out your team. Like, oh, we need a number 5 for that because they like to experience everything. So you start to cherry pick. That's why, like, get in the habit of like asking people their birthdays. What's your birthday? And then you have the birthday chart on your phone. Every time I meet somebody new, hey, what's your birthday? I did it tonight. William, the guy we did the podcast with, Dance of the Zodiac. Hey, William, what's your birthday? December 27th. I go look at the card. 4 hearts. I got a little cheat sheet now in front of me, knowing a little bit about the guy. And then when you want to assemble your cast, when you want to manage your weaknesses, you know who you probably would want to hire for that or you'd want to attract. But people are not doing these kinds of things because these concepts are new, because they weren't part of the age of Pisces. The age of Pisces, if you look at it, when you go all the way back, I mean, I was born in the 70s. I look back at the television programs in the 1970s. The technology was way different back then. We were using rotary phones and doing emergency breakthroughs with our girlfriends and boyfriends, if you're female. If the phone rang busy, you call the operator. Hey, I want to make an emergency breakthrough. Just to get into talk to the person. Technology now is way different. The lives back in the 1970s compared to now, much more simpler. But now we've now moved into a more advanced age, but the advancement comes with a price to pay, and that price to pay is more service to self. Because you have more gadgets, more things to keep you busy, yourself. Whereas back then it was more family oriented. There wasn't as much distractions back then. It was more nature based. It was more closer to the source. When you get away from the source and you move through time, you get more service to your identity, yourself, which is what we're seeing now. And that's what technology will do. Technology gets you away from the source, the starting point. Because as you move through time, more invention, newer cars, newer things, newer this, newer that. And now you have an era right now that we're in, which is there's so many things at your fingertips on what you want to do. And that's why most people are like this now, because this is their best friend. This has everything they need on it right here, this thing. Don't need to go anywhere outside this. This is it. But the technology can be a curse, or it can be useful, like what we're doing right now. We're utilizing this technology. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, OBS. Because without these platforms, I wouldn't be transmitting this broadcast to all of you around the world, different countries. It's pretty amazing. But all of you should have these charts on your phone, especially the birthday chart. Anytime you meet somebody new, what's your birthday? And if you have a karma card, your karma receiving card, they may be a karma receiving card. Oh my God, that person could be here to give me something. Cheat sheet. But a lot of you don't manage your weaknesses. Focus on your strengths, manage your weaknesses. You got to know thyself. Most of you don't know who you are. Just keep it real, man. Just be, okay, I don't know what. So where do I start? Decode yourself. Start there. Then if you have a partner, decode your partner. They don't, and if they don't, here's the thing, folks. If you go to your partner and say, hey, let's decode each other, and your partner's like, nah, don't force it on them, because you're going to get bitterness. Remember, man, anytime you're sacrificing love, you're trying to be right. So if you feel like you want to decode your partner and your partner's like, nah, that doesn't really interest me, maybe you need to set the example. And then they may never move into that space of where you're at. You may end up moving into a different layer of reality than your partner. And then there's going to be complications with that, because, like, you know, I couldn't even imagine living or being in a relationship with somebody who was completely stuck in Maya. I don't even know how that would even look. Like, I honestly I wouldn't want to. Like, and this is my personal preference, and just being very vulnerable and keeping it authentic with all of you. But I don't think I could ever be in a relationship with somebody who eats animals. Like, if we go to dinner and they like get this big steak, I'm just not in that. I'm not in that space. It's a big piece. I mean, food that's a big piece of everybody's life. Food is. Like, what are you going to cook together? You're going to have 2 separate meals? So, I mean, it's just, you know, that's where it's at, you know, for me. But, you know, I mean, if you wake up and your partner doesn't, are you going to get mad at that? Like I said, imagine that, you know, like, I used to be a huge carnivore. I used to be a bodybuilder. You know, I used to be really much bigger, and I used to eat a lot of meat. And, you know, I know what that does to the body. Provides muscle. In order to be muscular, you need to eat muscle, you know, and calories. I mean, it's really calories actually, but the protein was all the thing, you know, and it's all calories anyway to gain muscle. There's plenty of big people that are just plant-based, but nonetheless, my point is that back in that day, if I would just say, you know, I'm not going to do that anymore, and then I was with a girlfriend of mine or whatever, and she's like, well, I still like to eat meat. And then you go out to dinner, and then there may come a point where it's like, you're like looking at the plate and you're like, now you start to judge. How could you do that? That's typically how people are programmed. You'll sit down and some of you that are, you know, plant-based or vegans or vegetarians or whatever, you'll go out with your friends and you look over what they order, and in your mind, you're judging. You don't have to say it, but if you catch yourself, some of you are judgers. We all do it. It's being conscious of knowing that you're doing it. That's how you win. That's how you make the change. So when you go out to dinner and you see somebody order some food, man, it's not your journey. Don't judge it. I mean, I was there. So I don't call people sheeple. I was once there. So I am grateful that I'm here in my space right now, because I can look back at where I was and I can see all the progression I've made. And all that matters is my life, my journey. All that matters is your life and your journey. So, you know, again, I mean, I have no problems with anybody who is, you know, consuming animals. Don't care. It's not my journey. I don't wake up in your shoes, and I don't judge it. I don't care. I've been there. I still crave meat. I still smell it. My mouth waters, because the majority of my life I was a meat eater. But I'm in the space now of non-judgment. So when I see somebody do that, don't care. Don't care. But it would be a deal breaker for me if I had to go pick a partner and I see them order food and they order that. That's kind of a deal breaker, because The consciousness is not a match. I mean, I'm the guy now, like when I walk, I go to the gym. The gym is in the north side of town, and it's like a 2-mile walk. I love it. And I'm the guy walking down the street on the sidewalk, and I make sure I'm not stepping on the bugs. That's me. That's my life. Looking for the crocodiles so I can check them out, and the alligators, and check out the birds. But I'm looking down on the sidewalk, making sure I don't step on any insects as best as I can, because they got families too. I see, I like a lot of activity during the summer months right now. So there's a lot of ant activity, and on the sidewalk, you'll see them. They'll be carrying a dead insect, and there'll be a whole bunch of them, and they're just all moving collectively back, probably to the nest. And then if you're not paying attention, you could step on all those ants and kill them. And then all that food's gone for that hive. See, when you're consciously aware of where you're at all the time, and again, this is a state of consciousness that you choose to be in, I guess, right? But I'm in that space where I'm stepping over the bugs, because I'm not better than the bugs. I'm cohabiting this place. Olivia Maxwell, how do you feel about Beyond plant-based? The meat, it's tastes amazing, but it doesn't agree with my digestion system. I can tolerate it. I could have it. I couldn't have it every day, because there is some processing that goes into it. But it's plant-based, so I'm all for it. I mean, if it's going to get you away from animals, then yeah. But I wouldn't have it every day. And, for me, being in Mexico, there's, obviously limited selections on food here. They don't have the same kind of food. They don't have that here. So I don't have it at my disposal. If I had it at the grocery store, would I buy it? Yeah, I would. Because I miss burger. I mean, I grew up eating hamburgers, hot dogs, the great American, lifestyle. Cereal and pancakes and hot dogs and hamburgers and pizza and spaghetti and ice cream and all that junk. I grew up on that. I'm too judgmental. Well, at least, what's awesome about making that statement is reversing that statement. So vamos, I'm too judgmental. That's amazing that you're authentic with that. But I wouldn't stay saying that magic spell. That's like going into an AA meeting and saying, I'm an alcoholic. I think that I totally do not agree with that concept that they bring to the table. I was. So saying, just not saying it, maybe. Like, it's cool that you've admitted that. You're too I think we're all judgmental, but it's how much you can limit that. Maybe you want to say, I'm working on not being judgmental. Or I'm mastering not being judgmental. Making these magical statements instead. Wesley, yeah, if ants were bigger than you, they wouldn't think twice about eating you and your entire bloodline, for sure. But we're not ants. So there's a big difference, and the thought process and the machinations of how ants run and work and are far different than the human being experience. I'm gearing up for this detox, and so now I'm I'm having a lot of salads and fruits right now. Simple stuff. I really just want to cleanse my body, and I'm looking at prevention. I'm looking at the future. not looking at the future per se, but I'm wanting to, ward off death as much as I mean, every little day, every day we decay. So you slow that down. Jason Mayer, I'm not pulling any cards right now, because then I'm going to start pulling for everybody. So, but usually the answer is already in the question. I think crypto is the natural evolution of mankind. And, if you just look at the evolution of mankind, the rotary phone, we now have the cell phone. I mean, the technology now, we're doing video. Remember when video calls first came out? I was like, oh my God, you can talk to somebody video call. I don't like doing them. They're kind of weird and deformed now on video calls. But anyway, remember that the technology's advanced so much. No one uses a Rand McNally map to navigate through a town. They just look at their navigation. And the navigation talks to them and tells them where to go. Nobody plays 8-track players. Some people still have records, but then you got to be careful that they don't get scratched. You got to take care of the records. They take up a lot of space. Now everything condenses down into the MP3. You can't scratch an MP3. Yeah, you can corrupt the file. Then you just replace it quickly. That's how, because we download them so fast. So the technology is moving towards crypto. So if you've sold your crypto, bad time to sell right now, but if you're doing it to make money, but it's a good time to buy it because it's very inexpensive. People in the crypto space knew it was going to happen. They knew it was going to crash, and it could get even worse. But if you got crypto, I hope you're like me. I'm like, I don't even look at it, touch it, don't care. Just got it because I know that's where I feel that we're moving towards. So all you got to do is go within and ask yourself that question. What do I really feel? And let your solar plexus, your intuition guide you. And you'll always get the right answer. Because there are no wrong answers. There's just the answer. So I say that, with the formality there, because there's no wrong answer, there's no right answer, there's just the answer. And then you're going to have the reaction to the answer you get. And you may end up labeling an adjective, Sue, saying, that was a bad idea. Well, that was a great idea. Mahabio, how much weight are you curling right now? Not a lot. I'm 49 and a half, over 18,000 days on this planet now. And I'm very, I work out like 5-6 days a week, mainly for prevention. My workouts are super simple. Get in there, do my cardio, do my workout. I'm out of the gym in 40 minutes, tops. I do circuit training. I don't lift heavy weights anymore. Last time I got my testosterone checked, it was in the toilet. It was terrible. So no power anymore. Don't care though. Don't care. So I go in, I work out, I feel good. That's it. But I don't lift heavy weights anymore. I bench 1 plate. That's it. I don't, 135. I used to do 3-4 plates. I don't do that stuff anymore. Not into it. Don't care. But thank you. Appreciate all the great comments. I take care of myself. I stayed lean. I've always been lean, had a fast metabolism. I stay looking. I'm pretty much the same year round. I don't fluctuate. If I start eating processed foods, if I start to go towards breads, instantly my body just starts to gain water. So I know that's what it is. And I know a lot of you that have the breads and the processed foods, you're carrying a lot of water. That's the body defending itself, essentially. Water retention. It's a defense mechanism. So if you go to plants, if you want to cut weight, go to plants. Cut weight really quick. The closer you get to the earth, the faster you'll get healthy. The farther you get away from earth, the faster you'll get unhealthy. Claire, what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting? I do it almost every day. I do it all the time. I love it. I love it. I think everybody should do intermittent fasting. What is intermittent fasting? It's, if you stop eating food at 9 p.m. at night and you go to sleep at midnight, it's been 3 hours since you ate. You wake up at, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, some of you, 6 o'clock. Some of you sleep like me, 8, 9 hours. I love sleeping. And then you get up and then you don't eat. You may go like intermittent fasting is maybe 18 hours is a good rule of thumb of not eating. So if you stop eating at 9 a.m. or 9 p.m., you would go 18 hours from that point to the next day. So 9 a.m. would be 12 hours. 3 p.m. would be 18 hours. That would essentially be your first meal, 3 p.m. A lot of you can't do that. Like your stomach just like, I can't, I'm so hungry. And then you know what people say? Oh, I'm going to get lightheaded. I'm going to get dizzy. I'm going to fall down. And yeah, that's your body, your reaction to that. But then you give into that. And I'm not saying you don't get these feelings, but you got to practice. See, your body is very smart. It will get acclimated to certain parameters and then it will live through these parameters. So if you want to change, sometimes you got to do subtle changes to make those happen. Did you ever feel true love for a human being? Yep, sure have. Know what it feels like. Pretty amazing feeling. Falling in love for the first time or falling in love, getting that honeymoon stage. Whew, pretty amazing. First kiss. All these things, they're amazing. But I have a completely different outlook now on life. Now that I've been away from that and studied and decoded and looked at the script, and I have a much different outlook on that stuff. So I love animals more than I do humans. Why? Because animals don't talk. So it's a big difference. And animals typically like a furry, like a dog, unconditional love, non-judgment. Human beings don't do that. How can you observe rather than judge? It can be difficult to not insert your subjective experience into the equation by default, even if you are aware it's happening. It is a difficult situation, but it's like if I look over at a plate and someone's got meat on it, and if a lot of you that are vegans, you may be like, oh my God, I can't believe they're going to eat that. Or you may get judgmental toward that. See, I become neutral to it. I don't care. I look over at the plate and I just look at the person like, whatever. That's being neutral. You get in the habit of doing that. Coffee's amazing. It's a stimulant. Yep. There'll be a lot of health freaks that be like, oh, I gave up coffee. It was the greatest thing. And okay, that's your journey. Everybody's going to be different, right? If you enjoy, I think coffee has its place. It's probably the largest consumption of any stimulant on the world stage is coffee. Food prices, we'll all be fasting soon. Yeah. Well, you better get in the I would suggest, I shouldn't say better, you should get in the habit of fasting because I think food prices are going to go up even more. I'm already prepared. Like here in Mexico, it's different. Like I see the food prices go up a little bit, but not a lot. It's way different here. Not saying they're not going to experience that, but I know people in the US, man, it's getting hefty out there. It's like you just, how do you make lemonade out of that? Just don't eat as much food. You're not going to spend, you're not going to eat as much food, you're going to save your digestion, you're going to probably reduce your bloat, reduce your inflammation, reduce your water retention, and you're going to probably slow down your aging process. That's how you make lemonade out of price hikes and inflation. Instead of letting it rule over you. A lot of people get mad, they go to the store, oh my God, my steaks are $20, and stop eating the steaks. Or my gas is like $7 again. Start walking more. Go buy a bike. Maybe the universe is pushing you into that. People don't pay attention to these things. They are ruled by the society, and what society's like, they're ruled by the inflation. They're not making lemonade. They're just taking the lemons and just dealing with the lemons and complaining about the lemons instead of making lemonade out of it. Like I said in my earlier podcast with Jordan the other day, and my last 36, I said, don't go plant vegetables in the garden because you're afraid they're going to be food shortages. That's actually injecting fear into the vegetables that you're growing. Go plant a garden because you really want to plant a garden and you want to have your own vegetables. There's a big difference. So if your food is going up in your area, don't eat as much food anymore. Make lemonade out of it. Eating less food is going to be healthier than eating more food. Every time you eat, the body has to move. That puts miles on the organs. That reduces your lifespan. That's not my opinion, by the way. It's pretty common sense. Someone asked me about binaural beats. Yeah, I have a lot of binaural stuff I listen to every night before I go to bed. Put my phone on airplane mode, and then I play like Native American flute or chakra cleansing or something like that. Let it play and it goes off. Meditation, I like listening to rain and thunder. It's my favorite. Skin conditions like psoriasis, eczema, these are all skin conditions that are coming from inside of you, not externally. Something's going on inside of your body and it's coming out through your skin. The best way to tackle psoriasis and eczema and any kind of scaly patches and clean your diet up. Stop eating processed foods. Completely eliminate all dairy, processed foods, all dead foods. Get rid of them. Many of you will not do that because you're not a master of your domain. I got a detox coming up. 22 days, no dead foods. Guarantee your psoriasis will be alleviated quite a bit, if not completely gone altogether. All things can be cured. Stop eating. A lot of things that are happening inside of a lot of your bodies right now, ladies and gentlemen, happen because you're feeding it. Stop feeding it. Green tea is amazing. A lot of people swear by green tea. I did my last fast. I did like a 3-day fast. I just bought tea and I just drank. It was a green tea with mint and it was something else. And I just drank tea all day. A little bit of honey. It was awesome. I'm off junk food. It's funny. I enjoy my, I don't even call it junk food. It's reward food, but it is dead food, right? So like, I go through my spurts. I guess probably my biggest nemesis is potato chips, but I don't buy them as much anymore. So like they have this Air popcorn. I'm a huge popcorn fan. So they have this Air popcorn here in Mexico. You know, it's low fat, obviously it's air pop. So I want to have popcorn. I either make it myself with coconut oil, or I buy some of that. I eat to live now, folks. That's what I do. Beans and rice is actually fire. I don't know if you meant fire in a good way, but beans and rice is going to be completely acidic. So it's going to be considered a dead food. So that will actually take life from you. Beans and rice. Beans and rice is a complete protein. It is something good to have on hand in the event that there are some food shortages. Absolutely. But the rice these days, man, there's a lot of shit rice out there. I would get quinoa if you could. The best bean, in my opinion, are garbanzo beans. You don't even need the rice. Just go to garbanzo beans. That's all you need. Grapefruit. I love grapefruits. I went through a big grapefruit kick. I think I have one over there. Yeah. With yogurt. I love grapefruit with yogurt. Oh. Carrots have feelings. Not like a chicken or a cow, though. How can dead flesh serve a purpose for living flesh? Well, it's, again, folks, I think these concepts, I think that personally, I look at, we're living in the dark age. We're like the farthest away from the source that you can get. So if you heard, I'll say it again. I feel like we're in a binary system with Sirius. And when Sirius moves away from Earth and gets farther and farther and farther and farther and farther and farther away, we get into the dark age. And when Sirius comes back, we move into the golden age. And I feel like that's why plant-based and veganism, and they're exploding, because we are moving back towards the golden age again. That utopian feel. And when you get back to that utopian feel, you're going to realize that all life is precious. There's no necessary means to kill it. So it's very possible that will be eliminated. And there'll be a period of time through the golden age where maybe we're going to use telekinesis, or maybe we'll use sound levitation, and we're going to be able to heal through these med beds and this technology, and we're going to be able to become healthy individuals again. We're like really quick. But then, as the cycles always do, they change. So when we go from the golden age, and it's like, why would you want to kill and consume something that was alive like that? Then you move to the dark age, and when you go to the dark age, then the killing begins again. Cyclical. That's how I feel it works. But that's why, like I said, I mean, a lot of you were meat eaters like myself, and now you're not. And, for me personally, I don't consume animals because of ethics. I don't do it because of health reasons. I choose not to because I love animals. Ethically, I don't do that. But that's me. And when I see people that are not of that, I just that's just them. I don't care. I don't even really think about it. I don't care. They're living, that's their own little world they're living in. Not my journey. The medieval age was horrific compared to this. Well, we may not even have seen the end of the dark age. We may actually be moving into a really dystopian world, ladies and gentlemen, where you're going to get to where that medieval age will come back again. What if that happens? What are you going to do? And we don't really know how the medieval age was. We can just only specify on it. We can go on stories, but the technology back then was way different than it was now. So there are those factors that are playing out. Yeah, chaga mushrooms are great. Yeah, I don't know who has the med beds. They're coming though, but there are a lot of healing modalities that are coming out that are just mind-blowing. So they're coming. They're supposedly coming. All right. So I think I'm going to end this transmission. I'm going to, because I'm hungry. So I only had a salad earlier and it went through me already, and I'm ready to have my other one, and it's 12:45 a.m. here. So I'm going to do some collective card pull. Kara's asking, when is the golden age? I don't know. You know, Jason from Archaics is purely speculating. He's going off of chronology and history. I'm not saying he's wrong. But we don't know if these Phoenix events are just a cleansing of the board where some other set of circumstances happen, or we just don't really know. I mean, yeah, 2040, that's 18 years away. That's why I said we could be, I mean, imagine another 18 years of, you know, of some of these nightmares that are playing out. Like, I'm in a place in Mexico right here where I don't live in a nightmare. I've turned that off. A lot of you can turn that off as well and wake up and be like, oh, life's pretty amazing. Yet the nightmare is still playing out. But it's, yeah, I mean, Jason from Archaics is, it's great because I've decoded him a little bit, and his life's scripted. I can see the script. I've decoded his script. It's as simple as that, folks. The one thing I resonate with him and his information, you know, is that, like he said, I am a firm believer of that, is he's like, you ain't going to change the collective. It's not your job to do that. You're not going to change the collective. It's an archetype. And the collective is Maya. You're not going to change it. It's not your job. Stop trying to push your suggestions or opinions on other people. Try to change them. You can't change people. You can only be a reason for people to change. Just be the reason. Be the best little devil you can be. Make the ripple. Own your space. But, you know, what Jason says, he's like, you know, be your own Taurus field. And again, we talked about this in our simulation theory part 2. I got a part 3 I'm going to be doing with him. But we agreed. It's like, you turn off the static and pay more attention to your life. And you'll create your own little Taurus field. And that's it. I mean, that's what I've done. I've done that long before I even did any podcasts with him. I was already doing it. The greatest thing I ever did was turn off the static. Now I just look at it, I laugh. It's a big movie. And it's just everybody wants acknowledgement in the static. This and that, and this trial's going on, and it's just something to just draw you in. It's all vampirism is what it is. It's just funny, man. Where you have the eyes to see it. You disconnect from the static and then you go back. Like, I log into a news station right now, and when I read it and I see this, and I'm just like, I'm not going to give that my energy. I don't even believe in that stuff. But there are so many people that do, keeping it alive. Maybe the golden age is past. Well, it's possible. I mean, we could be turning it. I'm telling you, the age of Aquarius could be very dystopian. Could be. We just don't know. I guess we're going to find out. All right. See, for me, I'm looking at some of these comments. For me, I don't care what I don't care what the president of Russia's doing. Don't care what the president of Ukraine's doing. Don't care what Joe Biden's doing, because they don't care what I'm doing. They're not invested in me. They don't even know who I am. They don't care. So why would I ever want to care about what they're doing? And people say, oh, well, they run this and they run that. And if you say so. All right. Let's get into this collective card pull, and then I'm going to end this transmission. Thanks, everybody, for joining in. It's been a real treat today, reading a lot of your comments, a lot of you great decoders. It's amazing. What's my birthday? February 4th, 1973. So if you're new to the collective card pull, I'm just going to pull some tarot cards. Typically, I've been doing 3. I do one from the bottom of the deck, one from the middle of the deck, and then one from the top of the deck. And you know, we can just kind of ask the tarot. See what the tarot says. See what the tarot says. Yeah, I'm on a TV. You know why I do the TV thing? I think it's kind of cool graphically because it's a fractal down. It's just to show you symbolically what's going on. We're on television. We're in a fractal down. So you're maybe watching on your phone, and on your phone there's a fractal down into another fractal in the TV screen that I'm in. That's the cosmic joke. Well, and I've shuffled this 3 times, and the bottom of the deck keeps coming up the King of Swords. The 50. This card right here is this card number 64. It's card number 52 in the Cards of Illumination. Keeps coming up. Wow. All right. So, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. I've shuffled the cards. I'll probably keep shuffling and say, here's what we do. We think of a question. All of us together collectively right now. We're over 200 strong. Great showing up for everybody. 200 strong. And what we want to do is we want to think of a question together, and what does it mean to you? What is it going to mean and pertain to your life? So we did this last time, and I think we're just going to do it again just because it's easy. But like, what's the most important thing for all of us to focus on in life right now? It's very simple. I do this a lot with a lot of people when we do card pulls. What's the most important thing for us to focus on collectively in life right now? Right now, because all that matters is the now moment. What's the most important thing or a set of things that we need to focus on in life right now? Okay, you guys ready? Let me get some, let's get some Kiss. Well, actually no, because then it'll be, let me just get this song right here. Ad Astra, this is, there we go. Let's see if I can. Because I'm going to jag this music up. And what I want you to do is focus on this question collectively. We're going to ask the tarot. I'm going to keep shuffling until we actually come back on. 30 seconds. What's the most important thing for all of us to focus on in life right now? We're going to ask the tarot. So 30 seconds. Think about that question. We'll come right back on in a second here. Here we go. This is Dream State Logic, by the way, my favorite artist to play in the background music. You may have heard this song playing in one of my decodes. Pretty awesome. This song right here is called Ad Astra. Ad Astra, to the stars. Okay, so what's the most important thing for all of us to focus on in life right now? Collectively, consciously, it's going to start with you as an individual, and it's going to start with me as an individual. Okay? So your comments are coming in. Love, care, miracle, love to self. Okay? Having excellent health, being rich in spirit. Okay? So, let's see what the cards have to say. Here's the deck right here. And I'm just going to flip these over on its side, and we're just going to turn to the back. And this was the card in the back right here. We're just going to read them all upright, just to make it easy. It's the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords is card number, depending on your vantage point, card 62 or 63. So it's going to be both. If you use the Fool in card 22 or not. Card 62 and 63. This is going to be tied to Yaldabaoth, the Yod-Heh-Vah-Heh. It's going to be tied to the speed of light. It's the Queen of Swords. And in the cards of elimination, it's going to be the Queen of Spades, card 51. 51 is going to be tied to the all-seeing eye, antimony, the eye inside your brain, the implant. But it's this queen that cuts through things. And, you know, it's the consort to the King of Spades, which is the mighty, very authoritative, logical thinking King of Spades, or King of Swords. Okay, so it's the Queen. So now let's get a counterpart to this. We're gonna get a card in the very middle. Let's see if we can go a little bit further. The most important thing to focus on in life right now, collectively, we got the Queen of Swords. Now we're gonna turn to the middle of the deck. We're just gonna cut the deck in the very middle and pull a card out, and let's see what we get for the middle. So I'm gonna try to get this as best as I can for the middle point. There's the middle of the deck, and I'm just gonna kind of face it towards you. There it is. I don't even know what it is. It looks like it's a wand, but there we have the Two of Wands. Interesting. And this card right here is, it's card number 24. If you're using the Fool as card 22, can also be card 23. This is the Two of Wands. This right here is the birth card of Elon Musk. This card right here is all about the future, looking into the future, holding the world in the palm of your hands between the two wands, the two pillars, the left path and the right path, looking right down the middle. This is where you want to be, in the middle. This is more neutrality here. You want to build the world from neutrality. This card says it all right here. Left-hand path, right-hand path, no thank you. I want the middle path. And this was the center of the deck. This is kind of forging the fire, forging the plan. Walking out into the world and saying, I'm going to build something. And obviously the Queen from the bottom, when she comes in with that, well, she's very authoritative, but it's from a logical perspective. And this is the Queen of Spades. So let's see what we get with the last card at the top of the deck. And here's the top of the deck right here. And we get the Star card. How amazing. The Star is born. So look at what we get. The most important thing to focus on in life right now, ladies and gentlemen. Here are the three cards. At the very beginning, we got the Queen of Swords. Very authoritative, very logical, thinking logically, very authoritative in your thinking, knowing exactly what you want. And then in the middle, we got the Two of Wands. And that's literally the beginning point of when man starts its journey in this reality called life. It's literally telling you that the thing to focus on in life right now is, what do you want the most out of? And then the last card at the very top was the Star is born. How fitting. Bam, right there. These three, how amazing the tarot comes through again. So I don't know how you read the tarot cards, but I see them loud and clear, being very authoritative in your decision on what you want to end up manifesting, and then being the star in your own movie. Not playing around, not focusing on anybody else's movie, being the star in your own movie. See, a lot of you have invested your energy into other people's movies. You like giving people your gas to their movies. And like, well, I don't know. I think I'll just be an extra. It's okay. I just want to be a walk-on, maybe. Maybe you can get a glimpse of my back in the shot. I don't want you to see my face. That's how some of you end up living through and out your lives. You want to be the star. Wow, very powerful, these 3 cards. Most important thing to focus on in life right now, being very authoritative with your decision, not taking any shit, but being loving about it, and then deciding what it is that you want to do. You got the world in the palm of your hands. What are you going to decide upon? Are you going to start giving your static? You're going to keep paying attention to the mainstream? Or are you going to cut that shit off? Are you going to start from this point right here, a neutral? This is the neutral position. This is the starting point of the future, which is why Elon Musk has this as his birth card. And then you end with the star in your own movie. Bam. Amazing. The tarot speaks again. I love it. That's why I love doing these collective card pulls. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a fun journey with all of you tonight on this Saturn/Sunday. I'm going to end it with that, man. You guys are awesome. Honestly, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being a part of this community. Thanks for support on Decode Your Reality channel. Each and every one of you has made an impact on my life, even though I may have not have ever met a lot of you. But maybe one day, right? Maybe one day we'll all get to meet up. That'd be kind of fun. All 200 of us in this room right here. If we get to be in a room together right now, that'd be kind of cool. Just rub elbows and talk shop, talk decoding. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, my suggestion with this reading right here, stand in the middle of neutrality, be non-judgmental, create your own movie, be the star in your own script. And the only way to conclusively do that is to turn off other people's scripts. You can't do it any other way. Any interference from the other scripts will impact your starship, so to speak. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks to each and every one of you. Much love to all you great Patreon. Those of you that have donated, thank you so much. Honestly, Patreons, thank you so very much. Those of you that have gotten readings, thank you so very much. Those of you that are interested in a reading, just send me an email. I just opened up my July calendar. I don't have a lot of openings because I don't do a lot of readings. They take a lot of my time up. But those of you that are interested in a reading, send me an email. And I will get back to you, decodeyourreality@gmail.com. And those of you that are interested in this upcoming detox that I have in the month of July, it may go from July to August. It's a 22-day. It's like a marathon, but I promise you it will change your life. It's called the Green Box Detox. Just right at the bottom, just send me an email if you're interested to greenboxdetox@gmail.com and just say you're interested, and I will end up getting back to you. It may not be right away. I'm going to be collecting these emails. Once I make a determination of when I will be doing this detox, I will let everybody know, and there will be a Zoom meeting everybody can come into, and I'll send you the PDF of the detox, and the outline of it has everything in there. So if you're interested in cleaning up your physicality, that would be the place to do it at. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let me end this with how I started it. Well, screw it. I'm just going to play what I played with me and Jordan's. Here it is, the great band Kiss. This is such a great song. Off their album Dynasty. Go support Kiss, the great band Kiss. I was made for loving you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, we will see you later.